Hello there, everybody, and welcome to Imola. I hope you enjoyed the nice little smooth intro we got for ourselves. Joining me in the broadcast booth here tonight, as always, your best Dom. How you doing?
Doing good. Thank you, Nicholas. Again, this is week number 4 in a row. Pleasure as always. Having good fun here with you with my side for the commentating here, and of course, round 4 of the CC Championship is going to be another good race, another cracker, I'm sure.
Yeah, last week we had a bunch of trouble in the second race as well. Hungaroring had its ups and downs, and for sure, lots of action. I'm sure most of the drivers will have come and watch back the broadcast. So for this week, I'm hoping for some action as well. Maybe a slightly cleaner second race, of course. And I think I'm gonna have to come back to the bet on you. You said there was gonna be 400 messages, and there were 413. So you got me on that one. What's your payout for that?
Payout, what's the odds? 1 to 3. So if you give me £1, no, if you give me £3, I'll give you £1 back, or the other way around. Yeah, like
I was thinking about
Or do you want a straight PayPal donation? I can.
No. I'm gonna be good.
Yeah, like you say, it was a chaotic second race. Obviously, Kyalami, round number 2 was that. Had a chaotic second round. Hungaroring, chaotic second round. I mean, we could get it again for the third time in a row. I hope we don't. Like you say, I'd like some action, some entertainment, but not in the form of collisions between vehicles. Side by side passes, which are much cleaner than what we've seen in the second races for the last 2 rounds.
Yeah, I still have a couple of minutes. Let's look at that actually and see what what you might have missed last time around. Bring up the highlights here. Up into the highlight reel, jumping right on over there. There we go. So here, I think that was race start number 1, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty close there. You see, with the GT4 field that we're currently following, and now looking at the aftermath here of turn 1, cars left, round, and center, and you can see it dead in the night from that beautiful heli perspective. How much of a trouble it was to just get through there and survive, really. And here's where I just up into turn 3 there, down the hill, second gear. This time a little bit cleaner on the second race, I think that was, but such stunning pictures, really. Now, to some incidents here, was around the outside where this McLaren wanted to go. Was a nice move, but just couldn't quite make it happen. Bit of a showstopper here. Now this is where we get into multi-class racing. That GT4 Porsche to the outside wants to let the Bentley go, but there's just no room. The Audi already had the space covered. Turns him around, and it's second bonk. Right on there. Now this is my favorite one, I have to say. It's the pass around on the grass. We saw that earlier, but didn't quite make it stick here. With the Audi, slight bit of contact, and that's all it takes. Sparks flying all over, and that was some of the highlights from last week's Hungaro.
Yeah, hectic one for sure, and the results really match that, without a doubt. People falling down the order, Alistair Clinch being one of them who didn't have a very good showing at all last week out, but I think Don Jordan, very well that time around. Schaefer as well had a very good round as well, and people getting shoved around, especially in that second race we saw into turn 1 was there was a bit of carnage for sure, but yeah, you win some, you lose some, and hopefully people have taken a step back. Of course, there was a whole host of penalties to be handed out.
Let's perhaps
Damien,
look here. Jumping right over to the championships table here. Yeah, you go ahead.
Sure, and yeah, there you go. You can see James Lacey now takes over the lead in the championship, and that's mainly because Alistair Clinch has a minus 60-point deficit there with the penalty, and that really took him out of contention, along with the bad second race that's taken him from the top of GT3 to third place. Radek Schuler, though, continuing his fine form at the top. He's going to be pretty much uncontested maybe this entire season. He's almost, he's over 100 points clear of Jacob Tarantino, GT4. And yeah, you see as they go down the orders, we'll get to the end of that and have a look at our Constructors Championship. Their Porsche now leading the way, along with BMW and Aston Martin, who took their double points bonus that round at Hungaroring. They've jumped their way up to third, and they're a little way off BMW and Porsche, but they're up there now. And the first 2 rounds for Aston Martin weren't exactly ideal, no matter what.
No, certainly
But good
not.
third round, and hopefully he can carry that momentum.
Yeah, let's jump on down there to the Constructors standings. Have a look at this. Wonderful stuff. You see up at the front, once again, Porsche, 3,407. That's bit of a gap already. And with the fact that Aston Martin is now with the bonus round complete round where Mercedes AMG is, they definitely have to show their aim game once again here tonight. So let's talk a little bit about Imola and the double points that we're seeing tonight before we head on into an interview in a second here.
Yeah, for sure. Audi getting their double points bonus at the moment. They were second last weekend. Aston Martin were at the bottom of the championship coming into Hungaroring, but of course that double points bonus promoted them up all the way to P3. So for Audi, really, it's just to regain that spot above Aston Martin, try and fill the gap between BMW and Aston, if at all possible. But really, look at Mercedes and McLaren. They're only 400 points behind Aston Martin, and 900 points behind Porsche. The rough estimate for double points bonus is around 800 to 1,000. So both Mercedes and McLaren, if they have good double points bonuses in the final 2 rounds, they're going to be at the top. And they'll look, obviously, we'll go into the next round, round number 5 and 6, and you'll see Mercedes and McLaren at the bottom. But don't discount them; they have those double points rounds to go, and yeah, they'll shoot right at the top, and it's going to be a fight all the way until the last very moment.
And I do like to see that. They both have very good drivers out there. We already saw in practice that the AMG tonight seems very promising as well. Porsche obviously probably going to deliver there as well tonight. It's going to be a tough one for sure considering the curve. So let's jump on over there and talk a little bit about the Audi here tonight. So we are going to get yourself an interview set up in just a moment here with the team leader. 7 minutes of practice, so you aren't missing anything yet. Just get yourself ready, get yourself something to eat and drink, and join us here for Constructors Championship round number 4 at Imola. Right on then. So I'm going to bridge the gap until we do have the interview ready. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the track itself. What do you personally feel like is the car to watch here tonight? Obviously, the Audi in itself, but if you had the choice out of all cars out there, which one would you go for? Currently muted, Dom.
Indeed, I do forget that sometimes. I think it's got to be the Mercedes. Not just saying because Godzilla's currently provisional at the top in this practice session, but lots of chicanes here, and the Mercedes is generally quite good through the curbs. If we had maybe a Bentley or a Lamborghini, maybe I'd choose differently. But Mercedes seeing to be pretty good around those curves. But don't discount those Audis or the McLarens either. Even the Aston Martins. The top 4 in practice at the moment are all 4 different manufacturers. But we are joined here by the Chief, which is quite a name indeed, and that is the head of the Audi outfit for this in championship. And of course, Audi, it's their double points bonus. So the Chief, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing well. I'm looking forward to the race today. It looks quite promising for us.
For sure. And you've had a troubled. I'm gonna say again. It's a bit of a troubled start to the season. Sort of trying to populate those sort of top 5 positions may have been a little bit difficult, but you've got drivers up there at the moment in practice session, especially in GT3, that are doing very well at the moment. Crawford Brown being one of them, and also Jack Donaldson seem to be doing pretty good. And obviously, it's your double points. It's your time to shine this weekend. So anywhere you think you can pull up against the rest here this weekend, try and gain that extra little bit of leverage in the double points.
Our GT3 lineup is incredibly strong. Unfortunately, we're missing Jeff today, who's been consistently in the top 6, top 10 throughout every round so far. So he's unfortunately gone, but we've got Crawford Brown, Jack Donaldson, and De Vries, who are incredibly strong. They've shown incredible pace in the practice session today and in the shakedown last night. So very promising for the GT3s. The GT4 drivers, we're still trying to get the setup finely tuned currently. So hopefully we can still find about a second. That's the kind of time we're expecting to find in the current practice standings. So we've still got plenty of time to find in the GT4 car. It will just be kind of fine-tuning it through quali.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, practice coming to the end, but hopefully you can find that time during qualifying and maybe the first race, set yourself up for the second race. And of course, all the team managers had their chance, their say to pick which track they wanted to have for their double points bonus. Was Imola your first choice, the second choice, or was this just what the cars you've been dealt with?
Imola we thought was quite good. We're banking on hopefully missing it, like some of the Mercedes drivers missing, because the Mercs are extremely strong around here. They're kind of built around Imola. So we've been really fortunate in the fact that I'm only seeing one GT3 Mercedes, so it's looking very promising for the Audi guys in that respect. But yeah, the GT4 Mercs are still there, and they're still showing quite strong times across the board.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult challenge for sure. You do have some help though from others' misfortunes. Of course, we've got a couple of qualifying misdemeanors, you could say. Some people are having to miss qualifying. I don't think that involves any of your drivers. Correct me if I'm wrong there. I think
we've only had one driver who's unfortunately missing qualifying, but he's currently away this week anyway, so it's kind of nothing lost there.
Nullified anyways. Yeah, that's lucky enough for you. But yeah, a couple of GT4s and GT3s having to miss qualifying, which gives you guys a little bit of an advantage, and front runners in both those categories too, so that should help you out a bit. So aims for this one, just get those top 6, top 8 positions, get more than 1 or 2 cars up there, and do the best you can. Of course, double points, double penalties as well. There's got to be something you've got to be mindful for as well.
Yeah, we've kind of nailed into the less experienced drivers, but today it's more about racing clean, keeping it respectful, don't rack up the points, the penalty points, that is. But we're expecting big things from Crawford Brown, Jack Donaldson and De Vries in the GT3 cars. We reckon they can easily get top 10 if they just keep their nose clean and race hard.
And yeah, it's good that you've got a game plan for that. So we'll let you go for practice. We'll bring you back in maybe a little bit later on. But yeah, enjoy qualifying in the first race, and yeah, I hope it goes well for you.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
So that was Josh in the interview booth here, manager of Team Audi, and you might have heard it. It's a familiar voice. Originally, I would have seen him around Imola as well on Saturday for the Endurance Cup. Unfortunately, I was forced to miss that one. But regardless, I think it's very nice to kind of get that mix-up, mash-up here. Different lads in that you might have already heard of, and this community is sort of going full circle and connecting all the way around. So we're at the end of free practice right now. We're going to be jumping over to qualifying, where we're going to see 10 minutes of GT3 qualifying first, followed by 10 minutes of GT4s. Personally, we talked, I'm a type of person that would just like to be in an AMG tonight, especially with the extra pressure from onto the Audi drivers, and proving why that might be the case is RWB Godzilla here, who's been able to pretty dominantly drive away in this free practice so far. He's set a 42.2, which is about 4/10 quicker than Lacey, so that's quite impressive to say the least.
Yeah, without doubt. Maybe Lacey, Brown, and the rest of the guys just pushing back a little bit. Maybe that was a flying qualifying run from Godzilla, and the others not electing to do that just as yet. But like the chief said from Audi, he is the only Mercedes there in GT3. None of his teammates showing up there in the GT3 world. Right. So it's going to be tough for them. Obviously, this week only one car to score points for them in GT3, and that's going to hurt them quite substantially, you can imagine.
Yeah, I would definitely say so too. It might be that it's just very busy this week in terms of real life schedules, because that's just 16 GT3s overall that I'm seeing right now. I think that might be Eugenie making that 17 and 18 with Don Jordan. But regardless of that, it's quite low staffed, I'd have to say.
Yeah, of course, and I've seen this in other communities as well. May is normally quite a tricky time for Europeans, with it being basically exam season for a lot of people here. So if they are of that age from from 18 all the way up to sort of 22, you can be in the thick of an exam season. So that could be the reason why we're missing a few, unfortunately, today. But I'm sure they'll be back for the final 2 rounds, and we'll be back to a full grid. But that's saying we still have 38 cars out there, and that is still pretty sizable.
I would say so too. So let's talk about what we're heading ourselves into. 20 minutes of qualifying. You might already hear it in the background. Let's jump on over to the action here. Gonna bring this to you just like this, and jumping on over there. There we go. Wonderful stuff. And our free practice leader, RWB Godzilla, in the 34, right now cruising around the track. So I do expect him to really push the limits here in the 10 minutes, but obviously there isn't too much time after all in this sort of short qualifying session. Would you go for, say you're pretty far up in the second sector, you found 3/10 in the lap, are you going to push all the way through, or are you just trying to nurse that delta home?
It all depends on, well, for me personally, it's got to depend on whether or not you have a competitive lap to begin with. If it's your first lap, that final sector is going to be relatively conservative. You don't want to throw away a lap at all, regardless if it's good or not, and then come away with nothing at the end of the 10 minutes. So if you already have a lap on the board and you're happy with that position anyway, you can then push and push for that, for that more. And if you're 3 times up, you're going to push all the way. But if you don't have a lap time on the board, if it's your first flying lap, as Lacey goes off at the final corner, you're gonna conserve your way through the final sector. And of course, that chicane there is pretty tricky, very easy to get an off track there. So it all depends. It's also mentality based as well.
Let's jump on in there with Godzilla here for the first flying lap of the qualifying. 6th gear up into Temporello here. First turn quite tricky, far to the outside. Hold that 2nd gear and now try and keep it flat, just maintaining the steering angle. That's absolutely key. Nails it on the exit. Now into Villeneuve right now. 5th gear perhaps? No, he keeps it in 4th, shifts down to 3rd. Now smoothness is the key here. Very close to the exit. You see how much he's using. Up into Tosa. 1st gear, not quite that time. He's going to carry 2nd gear and momentum. Bit of an oversteering moment there on the exit for Godzilla. And now up the hill we're going into Piratella, which is going to be a sweeping left-hander here. 4th to 3rd gear, I'd imagine. He jumps the car in, touches the curb a little bit. Very easy to invalidate the lap there on the exit. Does so quite nicely, just on the limit. Aqua Minerale. This is one that just catches you off guard, and he navigates that absolutely beautifully. Now up the hill once again, and now this is going to be a crucial moment in the lap, if it is still valid. Varianta Alta, 4th gear, at the start of the curb there, braking, bring it down the gears, and look how he's fighting the car to just carry that across the track, and he's doing so very nicely. It looks like the car's getting out of the way ahead of him, and now down the gears and into 2nd most likely. 100-meter balls for Rivasa. That's going to be a turn 13, and now back around final corner, and that's the lap done very nicely. I would say so myself.
Yeah, a couple of offbeat moments there. Obviously, the 2nd chicane is very easy to run in gravel out turn 6, and then as you get up the hill through turn 8 as well. There we go, fastest lap, 1:42.7 there. He sets first lap.
42.7. That's going to be one hell of a time to beat. I would imagine that car's going to be struggling for that pace a little bit. Let's bring on up the timetables here for you, and we can see that Nate Newcomer in the number 97 Porsche right now, about 7/10 off the pace.
Yeah, and that lap didn't look all too of the cleanest really from Godzilla. Maybe that's just how you drive the Mercedes around this track. But there were a couple of oversteering moments like you mentioned on that flying lap, but nonetheless a 42.7, 3 or 4 attempts off his personal best that we saw in practice, so we know there's a little bit more time to come, but nonetheless it goes to the top from now as Badwaski takes 2nd place. We're still 6 attempts away. We'll hold the initial lead at the moment, but 6 minutes left in qualifying. A lot of time for people to set their times, and I'm sure they'll catch their way.
Yeah, we see that Newcomer made a mistake there. He's a bit down on the delta, and Badowski's as gaining, and so is Godzilla too. I'm just confused. Where are the Audis? Donaldson, first Audi to come across the line. Hold on, let me get them there. And the Belgian Audi club, number 33, goes 5th fastest at the moment with a 43.7. So that's a decent lap. I'm sure he's still got some time to gain. But where's the rest of the teammates? He's feeling a bit lonely out there in the top 10 right now.
Yeah, that's a bit lonely. I'm not even sure where the rest of them are. He definitely said there's at least 2 or 3 in GT3. Crawford Brown is on the lap. He's currently at the bottom of the list in 30th position overall, so he still needs to complete that lap.
Coming across the line, Godzilla is on an absolute flyer. Once again, nice improvement there. Does not count though, because it must have been invalid there. getting a little bit flustered already. You want to check in with Ryan Winch, though. Also on an absolute flyer. Let's see if this one is going to count. From a 43.6, is he able to improve as he comes across the line? He does so very much. 43.0, it's enough to net him third, where Everyday actually goes fastest overall. Very nice. BMW Motorsport now temporary pole position here, way up the front, and now you see Crawford Brown there matching that time exactly to the dot. Wow, it's just enough for second place, and you really wish you would have carried a millisecond more across the line. That would have been enough for a temporary pole position here.
Yeah, it's basically picking up the throttle maybe a thousandth of a second, quicker out the final corner, just getting on the accelerator a little bit earlier, but, sets the same time, of course, in the racing rules. Whoever sets that time first goes to the top. Obviously, the second drivers to set that may have had a bit more favourable conditions with the track being rubbered in, so in theory, as time goes on, the car should be quicker. Henceforth, the leader or the first person to set that time does go to the top. There you go. You asked where the Audis were, and there we go. The 39 goes to P2.
Crawford Brown waving with a little bit of a flag here, trying to show us what's up. Talking about someone who's continuously trying to shut me up a little bit here, getting myself all out of the flow here, as RWB Godzilla once again carrying the same 2 tenths, almost 3 now, as he's going to come across the line. That's enough for a now new first time. That's a 42.465 for the AMG pilot, and that's exactly what Audi were afraid of. A very strong AMG up at the front, and even if he can't carry his teammates, he's still going to carry his weight, really.
Oh, without a doubt, he's going to be making up for those lost teammates. But James Lacey coming across the line, I think he is on a valid lap and goes to P2. It did look good, and they go P2, so just under 2
very strong stuff, yeah. Super good to see. Number 39 car with the Audi that we're paying attention to, also fairly close to coming across the line, and so he does with a new fastest time, and immediately to the pit lane, giving me no time to react whatsoever. So Crawford Brown now up in first.
And those times keep on coming. The top 6, all 6 different manufacturers. That's all the 6 manufacturers that we have here, all populating the top 6, which is great to see. So maybe no one manufacturer really actually having that advantage like I might have thought of. Audi leading the way at the moment by Godzilla, and then Lacey, Jack Donaldson coming across the line. Then he's currently up by a little bit on this time. Currently P10 comes across the line and will go P5. Good improvement there to join his teammate at the top there.
That's quite nice to see, actually. I don't think I saw Jack Donaldson that far up in the qualifying for most of the other sessions. So he's definitely been practicing Imola, and goes to show. That's quite nice.
Yeah, and hopefully with De Vries, who's a little further down the order, down in P13. He's someone who's apparently a little bit newer to the ACC world, as they're getting experience every single weekend and only getting quicker. Hopefully they can pull something out the bag as well to help their Audi teammates out in GT3 get that little bit extra in qualifying.
Yeah, I'm trying to currently get the broadcast client is a little bit slow today. Trying to get all that running. Chances are I might have to quickly give it a restart. 42.1 by Godzilla is the answer to all that. It's almost into the 41s on a fast track. That is some serious pace.
Yeah, and that's already gone quicker than his practice time, so he did have time in hand and shown that Godzilla is really pulling stuff out the bag there, trying to beat everyone else, and he's doing so valiantly. With only a minute and 20 left to go, of course, it's a 20-minute session, 10 for the GT3s and 10 for the GT4s, with no gap in between, so they only have a minute and 10 to go.
Yeah, it's going to be the final flying laps for a couple of these lads. They've got to make sure to come across the line before that 10-minute mark is met. Otherwise, they're going to be in trouble, as Schaefer is currently carrying more than 1 second. That could be enough for a front-up runner position if he is able to get that across the line validly, and so does he. Wow, 42.198, challenging Godzilla in the front row.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all. I would have thought Badwalski would have been the primary McLaren driver this weekend out, but proved wrong, and Schaefer goes to P2 within half, and he pulls up track, and that'll be his qualifying done then. But P2 and very close to Godzilla.
Yeah, quite nice improvements here. Jack Donaldson again coming closer. Crawford Brown 2 tenths off the pace currently. It's very respectable, though. Lots of cars now finding their pace. Only Audi that I'm a bit worried about is the De Vries right now, 2 seconds off. Nothing too shabby, but I'm sure that he's got more potential. I'm quickly gonna, however, restart the line. Give me a second, see if that is gonna run right away. And it does. Good, then I don't have to molest you with taking over the stream here.
When the client decides to give up, but Robert De Vries goes P11, gains a couple of spots there at the def, which is good to see. Badwaski coming out the final corner then. He is slightly up on his personal best. You might be able to beat Jack Donaldson, but I'm not so sure about Aaron Adrie. We'll see as he comes across the line. And
yeah, it does so. Narrowly, and squeezes himself to the front run of the third row here. It looks like that's going to be qualifying over. Crawford Brown, however, could still set a very good lap. I think that, however, is going to be it. Yeah, he is going to be pulling right on over to the side of the track. That's quali over. However, Jack Donaldson is looking to put his teammate to shame. 3 seconds in the bag is his game. So he's going to come across the line. Let's see what the 33 is going to do here. 42.8 is the time to beat for himself. And he's going to go quicker, I think. Let's see where he ends up. P4, wow. The second row lockout. Number 39 and 33 Audis showing what they got in the game.
Yeah, exactly what they needed for this week and weekend out. And they've really pulled out the bag there and shown it. But they do have the pace, and it may have taken them a little while to find that pace. But there they go. So, third and fourth in qualifying with De Vries a little further down the order. I think P11 P11 he managed to get, but still in the midfield and in that mid fight, and I'm sure he'll be able to pick his way in the 35-minute race.
Yeah, very close up at the front. We do have to keep you informed that the number 39 is actually currently disconnected. Will come back, so that's going to shuffle up the order. You did get it right. De Vries will be starting in 11th position as we're going over to the GT4 field. And you look at the size comparison there. Say it's not about the car size, it's about the grid size, and it's going to be a fully stacked here, 22 cars right around in that GT4 class. We're following Joshua Barton here, and let's also jump quickly on board in a second and take a look at the slight difference here. I want to pay a little bit of love and respect to the Audi lads here, and you see with the dash, it reminds you of something, doesn't it? The BMW design, really.
I wonder why that might be the case there. Yeah, you can see immediately different lines that are taken by Joshua Barton through 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, really hampered by the lack of mechanical and aerodynamical grip that these GT4s do suffer from. Makes them sometimes a little bit harder to handle, even though they are actually going slower through a corner, which does, sound a bit odd, but can be the case.
I would say that in some of the corners you see that there's such a major advantage, but in other it feels just like there's so much aero stalling, how we would describe it in the GT3. There's just nothing there to kind of fathom your fall. The springs in itself and the setup is much more rigid in itself, and also a lot less room in terms of setup changes. If you've ever gone and tinkered with that, it's quite the difference. For example, in the Ferrari, I think they have 49 clicks of anti-roll bar you can play around, and the Audi has 2. You can go 0, 1, or 2. It's just all
the choice is yours, but only one of these 3 options. Yeah,
it feels like a little bit of a game. Which score are you going to go through? So very nice lap so far. I'm sure that Joshua Barton is going to set a nice lap time. It's around here. It's bring on over the timetables as we are seeing the first cars now about to cross the line. Don't want to miss that. McLaren is right on ahead as we are going into the final turns of the lap here, and out of Rivasa now to the start-finish lines, foot to the floor. Hacks first for just a moment before Schuller shows him what it's done, and now Barton across the line. Where he's going to go? He's actually going to go P5 in class, about 2 seconds off the pace that was needed from him. But he's got plenty of time, 5 minutes still in qualifying here, as once again Schuller is up at the front.
Yeah, and then we're all too accustomed to now being at the front. Here's Schuller, and he's done another cracking performance there in that 96, being out the 18 car by 3/4 of a second, and like we said earlier, the gap in the first set of runs in GT3 was about 6/10 of a second between Godzilla and I think it was Badwaski who went second on those first runs, and that gap came down, traded places several times for the lead. I'm sure that'll be exactly the same here in GT4. Of course, 22 cars here, so a little bit of a larger grid here in GT4, along with Daniel Birrell, who's in the 76 Aston Martin. I think it's their debut out this weekend. It's a driver I've competed against in the R Factor world, so and there's a very good Tesla over there. So we'll see if R Factor translates to ACC.
Yeah, we're going to see how that is going to go down. I mean, R Factor in itself features a lot of the cars that you're also going to see in ACC. But how would you say that it does compare?
Well, of course, with R Factor, it's all of, well, there's a lot of modding communities. So it also depends what you run. But if you are running that official content, GTEs and GT3s are pretty much similar, especially those GT3s are very similar to what you would find on ACC.
Right.
The
Ferrari
and
lost the line,
Martin
goes second fastest. Sorry to interrupt that. I just want to get the timings in. So BMW front lockout so far, but Matcha is looking to change that. Currently 3/10 in the back. Want to see where the number 8 car is approaching the line here. Craig Gilbert Wood also with some decent delta. See where he jumps, maybe could leapfrog up into P4 here with the number 8. Only manages 5th fastest with about 8/10 of the pace. It's 152.2. That does the job here. Once again, jumping back to Matcha, only 2 corners to clear, and with some delta in hand, looking to change the lookout on the front row here. It's going to have to try and get something done, though, because it looks very promising for the BMW lads up ahead. Daniel Barnett, however, manages to squeeze into 4th position here, very tightly just behind Matcha. So chances are there's going to be some more time found. Number 18 car coming across the line here is where... Sorry, no, that was actually Peter Varga. That makes it a 3-piece so far for the BMW boys. Serban also finding more time. Coming across the line now is Matcha. See what kind of improvement that's going to be. It is going to be just enough for P3. 2/10 off the pace, but a nice step forward. Checking in with number 18 here, RWB Hacks, currently on pace to set a new fastest lap with only 2 corners to clear, and that Rudy and Bell Donut Racing. So I would say that with if that lap is valid, it's going to be an absolute banger and super difficult to get right. Still fast track, not quite optimum yet. Track conditions 29 degrees on track and ambient as well, so they definitely have to make the most of it. About a second almost up on the delta as Hax is going to push for the final straight on the track here. Start-finish line, let's see where he ends up with the number 18. And by the looks of it, that was not a valid lap. Tragic that is. 51.1 would have been enough for P2, but you have to go around another time and look for the time lost and found. Daniel Barnett, however, also on a promising lap himself. 4/10 up right now. And down the hill here, as we've been seeing, Rivasa, double left-hander here. Super difficult to get right. Want to get the late apex there as he's jumping the curb, maximizing all of the track limits here in that lead number 16 Audi. Now coming across the line, Daniel Barnett is going to hopefully make the Audi boys happy. See if he does. And when he does come across the line, it is going to be enough for P3. What a wonderful sneak in there in between the BMW and Tarantino that had improved.
Yeah, Meal in that 1-2-3 BMW briefly took pole over his teammate in the 96 for all about a second before Schuler came across the line and smacked him around the face with 3/10 of a quicker lap time. Of course, Barnett, Tarantino, Major all bringing up those lap times as well. And Peter Varga then the number 12 bringing up P6 there. The BMWs once again looking really good around here.
It seems that there isn't just one track that suits the BMW GT4s. It's rather the other way around. They seem to be suiting the track around their own needs. It's crazy to see that they're finding pace everywhere, and Radek Schuller continues to do so. It's going to improve potentially above and beyond what he was able to do in the free practice session earlier. The number 96 is currently up 5/10, and if that is a valid lap, it's going to be an absolute statement. He's going to be crushing the competition here once again with a qualifying performance. If he can bring it across the line, and see if he does. Radek Schuller, just that little bend left to clear, and now pedal to the metal, coming across the line. still has the time in the bag and puts a 50.6 on the board. What a lap.
That is mightily impressive indeed, and Hackers did improve that time around, but didn't improve in position. But there you go, 3/4 of a second from Schuler to Splum, and yeah, that's maybe a little bit disheartening for the rest of the field, seeing that there's such a huge gap between first and the rest of the field. But no, race qualifying pace is one thing, race pace is certainly another. Well, not Radek Schuler be able to convert that. We've seen them do that many a time. So
Tarantino with the slipstream action there behind the teammate Neonen. I think that must have been the Porsche head. They basically pushed each other, splitting that front row, and Tarantino getting awfully close to that front running time, setting himself up for a second row finish. So far, Emil Sermon has different thoughts, a different opinion on that though. He's going to try and find a little bit of time, because about a 10th is all he needs to find himself on that third spot at the end of qualifying here. Still on a valid lap, so flying laps will count. Yellow flags ahead, I'm sure that's probably going to be people just all over the track at the end of Sector 1. Finds 2 tenths in the chicane. Look how aggressive we went through that. And considering how he's still going, chances are he's got that time in the bag, and potentially with it, Turo Jonan, who's currently sitting in third, biting his nail in the pit lane, because he's in trouble.
Yeah, he may be, and with a better time maybe coming out of the final corner. He's a little bit up, but will he? It's not. I don't know if it's going to be enough to challenge the pole man at the moment. The 96 car. We'll see as he comes across said line if he can improve, and I think he will improve in position, possibly indeed. Goes P2.
That's the front row lockout for BMW. Just so, look how close that is. We already saw that in GT3 qualifying, how little of a change that is. If you get that perfect exit, the perfect run out of the final turn, and he does so that time, and that nets him P2 in qualifying. So first row of the GT4 grid is BMW exclusive, then 2 Porsches, then the first Audi as well as an AMG. We're going to go through the grid once we get there. So very hot qualifying as we are jumping right over into our intermission screen.
Indeed, and yeah, there you go. That was qualifying done. Once again, joined by the Audi owner or the Audi team manager. And yeah, Chief, how are you? How's that qualifying for you?
Well, I like the sound of being called the owner of Audi, but yeah, strong qualifying from our chaps, getting 2 of them in P3, P4, locking out the second row. So extremely happy with that. We see De Vries also in P11, so even more happy with that for the GT3 guys. We've also got Barnett as well, P5, so yeah, hopefully we can keep fighting from there.
Yeah, for sure. And let's talk about those GT3s to begin with. Of course, like you say, locking out the second row. I think if you add up all your positions from GT3 qualifying, that is the lowest total that you've had. So everyone, they're doing the best they've ever done. Chris Brown and Donaldson doing, I think, their best qualifying performances respectively as well. So really good, especially, it's good to see that they're up the field, but also more so that it is your double points bonus as well. And then GT4, another good strong qualifying as well. Of course, Barton getting P5 then, that was, in a GT4. But of course, it's a 35-minute race with your 1 mandatory pit stop. Where do you look to gain that extra time for those who may be a little bit further down the field?
For the GT3s, we're kind of concerned about Godzilla and Schaefer, but because we have Brown and Donaldson up there, we can kind of split the strategy, see what works, and hopefully try and steal P1 off them. For the GT4s, it's kind of a free-for-all in terms of when they want to come in, but we're going to try and, well, what I've been hammering into a lot of these guys is try and basically pit when you're encountering traffic, and try and get into a nice window, which is quite crucial here as end of through sector 2 effectively. It's quite a one-line set of corners, so it's very hard to pass there. So yeah, we're going to try and see if we can pit them out of traffic.
Yeah, without a doubt. You did have a couple of GT3s, not yours specifically, but there were a couple of GT3s that had the qualifying ban, which means they're at the very back of the grid. So you're going to have to watch out for those in GT4 in the first couple of laps. And like you say, with the pit stops, we saw in the first 2 rounds that, especially at Mazzano, the GT3s were pitting way too early, and they came out straight in the middle of a GT4 battle, and it would cost them way too much time, and that was basically their race very much hampered by coming out in traffic. And here it's a small lap, it's a very tight lap as well in terms of width. So getting through those GT4s as a GT3, and obviously those GT4s managing their own race with GT3s coming past them, may not be as hectic as Hungaroring, hopefully, but still going to be quite a challenge.
Yeah, definitely. Key point for us is penalty points, trying to avoid those. So everyone's going to try and keep the most clean. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. With 2 minutes to go then, as we're just bubbling on the grid, I'll give you a goodbye and hopefully bring you back in after the first race. And yeah, hopefully it goes well for you, both these races.
Cheers, guys.
Wonderful start that is. Once again with a beautiful interview. Great questions there, as well as we are now dropping back and onto the grid here for a familiar view. Up at the front, we have RWB Godzilla here, first in practice and showing that he can do even better in quali with a 34, right on pole position here. Joining him on the first draw, that's going to be Martin Schaefer here to the left of you. Then the double Audis that we've been talking about, that's going to be Crawford Brown on your right, next to Jack Donaldson. Sitting there in that beautiful golf-inspired livery in that 33, just to the left of this camera. Then it's going to be first portion of the grid, James Lacey, next to Marco Badowski. That's going to be the third row on the grid for you tonight. Then Aaron Eriday in the BMW with a nice last-minute effort next to Ryan Winch here in that number 1 Aston Martin. Then it's going to be Don Jordan, second Aston on the grid, next to Nate Newcomer in that minty-inspired, you could say, livery almost. Robert De Vries is P11 for you tonight and qualifying. Simon Tribick is managing to find himself in 12th position. Then Magnus Dahlgren to your right in that orange McLaren. Kasper Nielsen is 14th here in that number 13. Almost got that right. Xavier Eugenie is sitting at the start of the 7th row next to Gianni Lenz in the number 777. And then the final GT3 on the grid is going to be Jonas Red before we're starting with pole position sitter ever so much, number 96. We already talked about it. It's going to be Radek Schiller leading the grid here with Emil Serban in that second row, number 22. And which one is that? 24, that is, on the Porsche here as we're starting to slowly get ready. You see the engines rolling and starting to rumble as we're quickly going down this GT4 grid. Look at those beautiful liveries. So we're getting ready to start racing. You can see already starting to move for a 2 set of races. And onto the start-finish straight we see just in a second all those cars coming down, and what a small GT3 field that is this time around. Still very nice to see them cruising through the valleys of Italy here tonight.
Yeah, like you say, 17 cars on the grid there for GT3, which is the smallest we've had so far, but still, nonetheless, still pretty good. You've got 8, 9 full rows there, which is good to see. And yeah, Godzilla waiting there, and you can see the two Audis weaving their tires just a little bit there, especially the blue one there of Donaldson really getting the tire temps up at the start of this one. As we wait for not the first line, but the second line there. Of course, the first line saw that little chicane there, so that you can get caught out by. But the second one, wait for those lights to go green. That Audi still weaving around there, and we're going to be waiting and waiting as we get then to the banner. And well, it goes early then, and there you go, Godzilla is away. And it's a pretty equal start then from himself and the 27. The Audi's trying to make it
Oh, three-wider, there's immediately contact! Too eager there from Jack Donaldson as he sends it to the inside. 3-wide into turn 1 is not where you want to be. That's an opportunistic move, and Martin Schaefer is going to be able to pull away unscathed that time around. Crawford Bound benefiting from the situation, but that's super devastating for Godzilla being taken out so early. That must have been quite significant damage there as well. Got to have a replay at the end of this. To have another look, as in the background we see that now Aaron Eriday is getting in some trouble, running out quite wide there now to the outside. That's going to be the Aston Martin number 999. That's Don Jordan looking for the move, and I think he's going to get there done now up the hill, pulling the gears. He's going to have to go around the outside as the wait, that was a Porsche back there. I don't quite know which number that was, but Don Jordan getting it done. Very nice, and he got that move set up a couple of corners ahead already. Jumping with Jack Donaldson, who finds himself in trouble here, is just at the back of the GT3 grid after causing the incident early in turn 1.
Yeah, very much so, causing that incident. It's barely wide enough for 2 wide there. You know, we see sometimes the best drivers, you know, in Formula 1 make mistakes going side by side through there. Not sure what the idea was to go 3 wides there, but yep, making contact there with Godzilla, and surely that 34 Mercedes that was once on pole probably has some substantial damage. GT4s though much cleaner, which is good to see. All in single file pretty much now, and making their way through the chicane, come down to the penultimate and final corner. They did have to deal with the Mercedes there of
Oh, one more contact. The 420 shoves out Schiller to the outside. That's the Aston Martin, and he gets revenge from the BMW teammate. Will you look at that? He just shoves him.
Yeah, oh, and a bit more contact there for Clinch. And I was about to say the Mercedes and the Aston Martin have been making their way quite cleanly through the GT4 field, and you know, never got a chance to finish that sentence before Clinch went and tried to attack one of the BMWs. Like you say, the other BMW coming back with a little bit of revenge there, possibly.
Yeah.
But Clinch now all the way down to 34th overall, and he's basically at the back of the GT4s once again. That qualifying ban really hindering here at the moment.
I mean, it is deserved, considering that has to go in hand with at least 30 penalty points, which can be a massive collision. For example, in some of the early laps, as we see one of the AMGs a little bit wide there in the background. Want to have a look at that as the, I think that's the GT3. That could be Carl Newers, right? No, it's actually Alistair Clinch. That is still trying to fight his way back. We do have to check in with the front, though. I'm going to quickly pull up a picture-in-picture in a second, so we're not going to miss this much of the action anymore. It's very intense out there as we are bringing that right on, getting that picture-in-picture on there. So at the bottom right, you can also see part of the GT4 grid that has been fighting for the majority of the first lap here. Center off screen is going to be one hell of a Porsche. That actually belongs to Sir Tribic there, so he almost thinks about going for a move there into the chicane, and he's jumping the curb there. Massive airtime. Out to the outside, and he's not going to get it past Gianni Lenz that time, but it looked like he had a big run on him.
Yeah, certainly not what you want to do, run over the curb there. Certainly not good for the balance of your car. You can actually pick up sometimes a little bit of suspension damage if you hit that a little bit too wrong, and of course if you go out too wide as a consequence of that, you're going to get yourself one of those track cuts, which is exactly not what you want to see. Martin Schaefer then, Crawford Brown then set the fastest lap as they continue on their charge up the front of the field. GT4 calmed out pretty much now, and everything's back to single file here. Thankfully, you see that in your picture-in-picture there. Everything is pretty much nice and calm now. Those pesky GT3s got their way out of the way now, and they've had their moment to begin with, and thankfully things can calm down.
Oh, talking about a big moment there for Crawford Brown. He sends it out wide. Let's go back 30 seconds and have another look. Oh, what was that? He already had some trouble just before that, and he was already back behind the McLaren here really closely, wanting to go for the inside, and he does so. Is being kept, but only for so much time as we. Oh wow, whoa. The duration. Oh, I got the duration wrong on the replay. Sorry about that.
Did not want to finish the replay, but yeah, went down the inside there and made contact maybe then with that McLaren and just send him off wide. Was that in the first chicane or the second chicane where he made that contact?
I think that was first chicane, a little bit of contact, and then out there in the second chicane is where he lost the Audi. Yeah. So chances are tires were screaming hot as he finds himself at the back of the top 10 here. Still quite a way to go until we're finding that pit window. So he'll be in big time trouble, as he was really so far up the front. Wanted to go for the move to P1, but that was still 30 minutes on the clock, Crawford. What happened there?
Yeah, and these are sort of sprint races where you need to make every second count, but there's making every second count, and then there's going for moves like that. Exactly the same with the other Audi. You know, you need to protect what you can have, and there's going to be penalties certainly for the second Audi. And you know, they're sort of self-destructing around here. You can see in your picture-in-picture, there is now contact and a bit of.
They're trying to wait up at the exactly wrong point in the track. You see that the 24 wants to give back the position, but that's not where you can really do that at all. Super tight there. So there's more contact. Sorry, go ahead.
Breaking a little bit there is the 24. I'm just going to go on board with him, see if there's any suspension damage, unless he is waiting for the person that he made contact with, which wouldn't make any sense because there is a specific rule set that if you're trying to do the gentleman thing of wait and allow that person that you've made contact with to get past, the stewards don't care about it. That's, you know, it's separate to the incident. So
Right.
you're only hampering yourself if you let that person through, because the stewards are still going to give you whatever penalty. They're going to do it regardless. So I'm not so sure what the 24 was, but I think there was a side-by-side moment there with one of the Mercedes through the chicane. They both made contact. They both spewed their way back onto the track on the exit of that chicane, and the rest of the GT4 field came across, and they needed somewhere to go, but very much blocked in their path.
Yeah, as we're seeing there, Aaron Eriday falling back the position and giving that up, falling back now to P8 actually, where Newcomer now got past. It might be actually a car to the pit lane, as we see him very much under attack from the Audi there. Very nice run here for Jack Donaldson. You're gonna definitely have to give us an update if you can regarding the different position changes, who's been losing, who's been winning, as that's yellow flags once again in the third sector. See what kind of trouble that is. Very close battles here up at the front. And this fight right here for 6th place, as we're seeing, I think, Radek Schuller there being overtaken in the picture-in-picture.
Indeed, he's lost a place then to, Jacob Tarantino is the place. He's lost it to the number 22 Porsche. Then, obviously, I'd like to have a look at who's gained and who's lost, but it's very much skewed at the moment by the GT3s having a bit of a kerfuffle at the start. But yeah, Radek definitely losing a place to the Porsche at the start as one of the, I think that's Carl Lewis there, yep, in the McLaren that goes deep for the penultimate corner. And then that has to get back past the BMW once again. And that pit window is now open, and hopefully some of the GT3s will just get there and escape themselves off the track, try and get out of this bit of a mess that they've caused themselves. You know, Carl Lewis, Alistair Clinch, and Gianni Lenz, the 3 GT3s that are basically not where they belong.
Yeah, it's the sort of movement we kind of saw in F1 as well. Going for a risky move, especially 3 wide into turn 1. It's so difficult to navigate anyway. Just take your time there. And obviously that's going to be sending him back. You see it there in the picture-in-picture. Gianni Lenz is now finally clearing the GT4s just barely. Let's hope he doesn't make another mistake to enforce another overtake. Where did he go? Gianni, are you playing hide and seek with us here? Where's that McLaren?
Seemingly not wanting to be on the track anymore.
Yeah, it looks like that might be a retirement, because he did just escape back to the pit lane. So that chances are that's going to be a long wait, long haul back if he wants to go for the rest of the race here. It's quite an unfortunate finish there. Now I do have the replay fixed, I hope, for future iterations. Maybe I'm going to ask you to do something. First car's heading to the pit lane very early. Crawford Brown actually going for another. Interesting enough.
Yep, seeing that obviously probably doing the opposite to what the car ahead did, maybe extending it for another lap, or maybe going completely opposite and waiting out that entire pit window before they make their one and only stop here. You only need to take a couple of litres of fuel here to classify as a pit stop, no tyre changes or anything like that. So it's a pretty simple stop, and should only take a couple of moments actually stopped in their box before they get rolling again on the other half of pit road. So it shouldn't be too difficult, and shouldn't be too much time lost. So we'll see how they do it. But we did see one of the drivers, I think it was Lacey possibly last week out, who had a very tragic stop, and we're not quite sure where he lost it within that pit stop. Just know that he did, and maybe missed his pit box area by a couple of meters, and that had to shuffle him around, costing him a couple of seconds. So there is still time to be lost. Maybe not much time to be gained amongst the others, but certainly time to be lost in the pit stop phase. And they've got that to contend with for now next 17 minutes.
Yeah, they're going to be thinking about it. When do we want to come in? We're quickly turning out of the picture-in-picture. Just want to get the focus here on the 5-4 P2. Number 69 Porsche. Very respectable stuff here. Gaining a lot of positions after originally starting a bit further down the order. I think, in all honesty, it's quite nice and refreshing to see that some of the cars are actually pulling through without too much of an incident. As he's currently... actually, did he get the move done, or did he just inherit the place from Badowski? That's something for the mysteries. Actually, I'm going to put back the picture-in-picture for you so you can see what's happening right on there. I was surprised to see what I was witnessing. Lots of cars off track in the GT4s.
Yeah, the field definitely getting shaken up from that contact through the chicane a couple of laps to go. On board here with Mad Al, who's chasing down Joshua Barton there, the leading Audi and GT4, and side by side there, just ahead there, is RWB Hackers and Emil Spoon with the BMW. It's fallen down the order a little bit then. obviously qualifying P2 to make it that BMW 1-2 on the front row. And yeah, he's fallen down a little bit from P2 down to P6, I believe that is, which is quite a hefty fall in the first 12 or so minutes of this race. But you can see there in your picture a little bit of contact actually there with the Audi and the Aston Martin, but actually kind of helped the Aston Martin because they sort of bumped him through and passed the BMW. Possibly the 1-2-3 course of pit road this time. Maybe not.
Very close stuff. Looks like no one is opting to put themselves in the pit lane this time around. McLaren with a very nice run. Let's bring that center screen for you to see. Very nice stuff. Bring that picture-in-picture reversed here. Get that on in there. Very nice move. And he's going to squeeze himself in the middle into the sandwich. Not really where you want to be. To the inside then the Audi goes. Round the outside. Room is being left. And he's probably going to be forced to jump the curve there. Just barely making that position gain. But not for long. He doesn't get the traction and the Audi comes back out ahead.
You see him bounce over the curb there through the right hand of the second part of the chicane, and that was all it needed to sort of break traction at the rear. Never was able to get the power back down, and the Audi goes back through. Once again, just at the top there of your picture, BMW goes back down the inside of the Aston Martin there. That is Emil trying to get past Hackers then, and does so effectively. Here comes one of the GT3s, that's Don Jordan, who's made their one and only mandatory pit stop, and that is technically 4th position, but nonetheless the GT4s will be mindful to allow these GT3s to go through, especially what's been happening in the last couple of rounds and what happened at the start of this race as well.
It's quite difficult for them, I have to say. Obviously multi-class racing is sort of multi-class racing as it is. It's just super tough. They already are leaving lots of space and still getting caught up and reveled in the GT3 incidents happening up ahead. So especially the frustration in the Audi team, we're probably going to talking about that in the interview as well. Considering it was just one corner, we actually didn't make it to turn 1 before there was already a major incident up front.
No, not at all. And yeah, I'm still very shocked and surprised that the Audi decided to make it through wide there. A little bit confused and yeah, as to why they did that, but you know, that's all for the debrief. It's happened. Now you got to live with it and make up what damage you can. And into the pits then comes Mad Out along with the Audi. I think
the Audi, that's going to be a stop and go 30. That's a no-no. That was really too quick.
That was
Barton, yeah. Barton,
quite,
number 84, going absolutely rapid into a 50 zone. If you do that around a school zone, you're gonna get your driver's license revoked, young man.
So it's very optimistic, should we say, from the Audi there, trying to get his way through pit road, and yeah, definitely we'll see that pop up on the timing towers, you know, in 30 seconds or so, and that will definitely be a drive-through or stop-go 30 for that Audi. And that's 3 Audis now that have had very big issues and have dropped themselves down the order. It's really not what you want to see for them in their double points round.
I want to know where Donaldson there, 33, he got their pit stop timing quite right, I'd say. I think he gone for the right move. RWB Godzilla still carrying that damage by the looks of it. So I think he did the sensible thing coming into the pit lane at the right time. Hopefully with no damage until the end of the race here. As Newcomer senses an opportunity here, not quite under braking this time. The 34 closes the door here, getting a very nice run now to the inside. Let's see what he can do. The damage definitely hindering the front downforce from applying much at all now to the inside. Slightly defensive, cuts him off there. RWB Godzilla showing that Danny sort of defense right around the outside. He'll have to go carrying that momentum, and now down the hill before we're going right on up there again. I'd say he's doing a terrific job despite the damage that he has to fight with.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some area damage to that, and as you can see that visually on the front of the car, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of suspension or something not quite right with the mechanics of the car, and that's going to be costing him a couple of attempts at least a lap, and if not that, it's going to be costing him sort of some confidence through the corners. He may have to take it a little bit easier, know that the car may snap back on him, you know, a bit unnaturally compared to before with that extra damage.
Yeah, but despite everything, checking here with the front of the GT4, we see a couple more cars heading to the pit lane here. Radek Schiller, at least temporarily, finds himself back out and in front, despite all that has been going on right at the start of the front of the GT4 field.
Yeah, he gets his way back up to the lead then. I think Jacob may have had a little bit of a mistake then, possibly, because he has got quite the gap then over that Porsche with Don Jordan separating the two, Tarantino and Peter Varga at the moment. Daniel Barnett up in P4, which is now the leading Audi for GT4. And
Right.
at least he's carrying the flag there for the Audi squad.
Yeah, Barnett, obviously, he had to drop back a couple of positions here during the race. We saw with the little bit of contact there, that somewhat larger incident. It's quite interesting to see what he's going to pull up in the end, and potentially in the second race as well. Now, what I'd love to see is potentially getting a replay of the start of the race for us to have a look at that in just a moment. I've turned off the MILF HUD, the picture-in-picture. It's the casuals like to call it. Seeing Godzilla here getting past some more traffic. So we're getting that right on ready for you. Let me know when you're good to go.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much ready to go for that one. And as we cut to it, we can see here we are on with the 39. You can see him there weaving around and, you know, still trying to get that tyre temp in there. And it's actually the 33 that goes to the move, but it's better to look at it from the 39. And yep, just nuzzles the nose in, sends the Mercedes there actually into the McLaren. McLaren actually able to keep on going there. And I think if we backtrack that just again, actually for you guys, and actually then once again have a look from the 33's perspective, again, you see the 39 weaving the tyres, trying to get all that temperature in.
Menacing energy,
launch.
that is.
Yeah, it is a good launch from the 33, I'll admit, but it's not a good launch, and it's, well, not good enough for that. You know, that is very much unexcusable, and pulls himself off the track, actually, manages to not have any more accidents himself, but yeah, it's 3 wide on the place,
already
which is
done at that point, really.
Yeah. And sure, it's a good run and it's a good launch, but it's not good enough that it warrants going 3 wide, and especially in the middle as well of a corner which naturally switches over to the left anyway. You know, it's the braking zone into turn is actually turn 2. There is actually a corner before it. The little left-hand kink it's a full-on left-hand, and you have to brake in the middle of turn 1, which puts you in. You see him, he's having more contact with other cars here at the back of the field. You brake in the middle of turn 1, and that puts you to the right-hand side for turn 2. So it's a bit of a weird way you actually tackle turn 2, but you know, and it's barely wide enough for 2 cars. It can be done with 2 cars with the respect, but with 3 cars, especially one which is only alongside enough to put a
Like
bumper in.
Tire,
Not even the front tire. It's just the front, you know, piece of the car. Is a little bit stupid, especially on the opening lap, and yeah, it took all of 15 seconds, if that.
Yeah, he's going to have a second opportunity in about 15 minutes time to prove ourselves wrong. See that he's got the racecraft necessary to bring some good points that are not penalty points home for Audi here tonight. It's going to be very, very special second start for the front runners, I think. Just trying to drive to survive. I already mentioned that last time around, but it seems to prove itself right once again. Still no pits coming in from a couple of the front runners here. Lacey has been keeping up with the pace here. That Porsche Racing number 69, where Martin Schaefer still leads the group of GT3s. Then in third spot, it's going to be RWB Godzilla in front of Crawford Brown for now. Do keep in mind, lots of pit stops still to be served. So those currently the cars furthest out ahead that still have to serve their pit stop. And I'm quite sure that, for example, a Badowski, a newcomer, we're going to see them back on top unless they've run into some trouble with the traffic right around the track here. Jumping on to newest here in the second, Daniel Barnett. One of the Audis here is actually part of the GT4 pack, and you can see that he's keeping up quite nicely with the cars ahead. I'm pretty sure there's a Peter Varga there and a Schiller nearby too. So he's being overtaken by a fellow sister car from a different class. I think that might be De Vries in the 66. That goes around the outside.
Yes, it would have been indeed. Obviously, he's made his one mandatory pit stop. You can see there on your timing tower there is a drive-through for one of the drivers. I think that is the Audi. He's unfortunately, you know, drove his way. Actually, no, it's Aston Martin Hackers that's got the.
Where did that stop and go? That penalty go? I'm baffled. Did we miss something?
Yeah, It was definitely one of the GT4 Audis,
Gianni.
wasn't it? That drove his
Yeah,
way
it
into
might be
the pit.
Sullivan Schlachter. Was that the car in mind? I don't think I saw a penalty pop up. That might have to do with my settings though locally. Yeah, so Hax will have to go for another ring around the Rosie in the pit lane next time around. It's going to be quite frustrated with that, I reckon. Chances are there's also 1 or 2 more penalties waiting just to be applied at the end of the race, considering that track limits are definitely very much a thing around here. So we're jumping back to the front of the timing boards here, where we're seeing Schaefer is going around some lapped cars at this point. It's quite interesting to see that the Seaton Hybrid is already clearing traffic about 30 minutes into the race. Obviously pit stop and all of that involved, but still quite an impressive feat in terms of the pace here. 43.5 was the last was the timing that he got last time around the track. Wow,
Yeah.
that's quite nice.
Times keep on coming, and you were right. It was Joshua Barton who got that drive-through penalty. But looking at my sort of clear through of the penalties that have been handed out, the stop and go was cleared for the 84 at some point. It doesn't say that it was ever given it, but it does say that stop and go was cleared for the 84 a couple of laps ago. So whether or not he's already done that, which I would be very surprised about because he is still running pretty high up in GT4, but maybe a word to race control possibly might have got that cleared for him. But yeah, certainly given that stop and go for speeding in pit road and did clear it. Whether or not he cleared that himself or got a steward to clear that, not too sure. But nonetheless, it doesn't affect him anymore. And the 18 as well, that Aston Martin's also had its drive-through cleared. But I believe the 18 actually took that normally and has actually dropped themselves a couple of places down.
Couple of positions, yeah. I would reckon that it's down to the fact that a stop and go 30 is just going to be a stop to your race, really, not just a stop and go. It's rather frustrating. Obviously, you did miss the pit entry. Chances are not getting that practice in necessary to know where you want to stop the car. Quickly jumping here back and forth through the GT4 class as we're seeing Hax, I think. That is under fire from Vargan out on the main straight, going onto the rear wing cam here. Center screen. Yeah, so I was always saying, I'm sure there's going to be some repercussions at the end of the race, but considering that you can go up to 70 kilometers before slowing down to 50 into the pit lane, it's quite fair that once you're going like 100 or so, especially in a GT4, it's just well past the mark for a 50 zone, so you'll be given that penalty for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt. It certainly looked at it from the onboard that we were looking at. But the LD certainly sped into it by quite a considerable margin, and Varga almost running into the back of Hackers there. The Aston Martin has to allow the bigger sister there, bigger GT3 through, and does so and gets through. And doesn't really cost him actually a little bit there on exit, but this battle will continue between Hacks and Varga.
It's quite nice to see that the Aston is now also getting involved, so it's the back and forth for position. Both of those, GT3 and GT4, all with a mashup, with a mix-up. They don't want to cost each other too much time, but obviously they got a race to race, and they got places to be, so they'll try and clear this as soon as possible. Most of the pit stop are going to be done 2.5 minutes, or rather 3 minutes now, just in the pit window left, as RWB Hacks once again under fire. The number 18 jumping the curb there to the inside. It's going to send him flying for a brief moment. That's exactly the sort of feeling that you're gonna want in that GT4 when you're just breezing past the curbs, where otherwise that would be way too much of an air time.
Yeah, you saw how much time it actually gained him on the exit there through the chicane compared to the BMW. Leapt over the curves and took all that time with him, but Peter Varga not having any of it and actually into the pits and goes Hacks for his one stop. And like you say, with only 2.25 minutes left on the pit window, those guys who haven't yet do it need to commit on this lap at least. Certainly this lap, or otherwise they won't be able to complete it. And I assume it's a straight up disqualification if you don't take the one mandatory pit stop.
Right. Yeah, I would have definitely assumed so. That would be with a major penalty. Or a disqualification and that. Since it's just like, you just have to do one stop, really, and you got to get that in time. You've got plenty of time to actually get everything right on ready. So very nice to see that these guys are now starting to figure everything out. We see here Godzilla in a bit of a stretch here, really, where Badowski is looking to get past. Both of them already done with the pit stop, and I would assume that the damage has been fixed at least a little bit on the end of Godzilla here. Looking forward to see how this fight is going to pan out in the end.
Yeah, depending on let's see if he even elected to take the damage. Obviously in an endurance race, something over 2 hours long, he definitely would have done it. But in a 30-minute race, who knows whether or not he would have actually taken that damage, depending on how long, of course, that would have, held him up,
Yeah, chances are there's going to be about 20 seconds of damage for sure.
It may not have been worth it.
Yeah, I think that's just going to be the race ruined if you do take all of that. So he's going to probably run with a bruised hit till the end of this. 8 minutes to go, and most of the pit stops coming to an end now. Crawford Brown leaving the pit lane just ahead of Schiller this time in the CBR number 39. It's going to fall back to about 5th position, I would reckon. Coming across the line there, newcomer. So that means Crawford Brown dropping back into 6th place. And chances are it's going to be tough for him to get that one back.
Yeah, for sure. And well, we saw a good pace from him in qualifying, but he has been able. He's done a good job actually to regain those positions that he lost early on in first laps there. P6 and yeah, quite far away from the Porsche up ahead, along with the McLaren too. So
what are we watching in the bottom right there? 1996 BMW all the way sideways there. Jesus.
Yeah, hit a good 30-40 degree angle offset to where he wanted to be, and did very well to bring that back around. I was expecting that to go completely 180 around on him, but yep, kept it just about in the straight line, and probably those tyres are going to be pretty angry with him, and maybe actually if these two keep up the pace they've got at the moment, they may catch up then to the 39 of Crawford Brown there in that Audi. You see him just ahead. That very dark blue car is very distinct, very easy to pick out. And I think these two are lapping pretty much quicker than Crawford Brown at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if this becomes a freeway battle in the last 5 or 6 minutes of the race.
Let's have a look at that. Aaron Araday actually setting this personal fastest third sector of the race last time around, so that definitely on the flyer. And by the looks of it, Crawford Brown last lap lost, obviously due to the pit stop. But chances are he's going to continue losing a little bit of time here once the tires are now starting to warm up a little bit, considering he does still have the damage. Looking at some of the apex speeds, definitely ahead for the BMW, and it's a sight to see where probably this fight for is 8, that is? Timing Tower is messing with me. No, that is going to be the fight for P7. There you go. It's going to turn into a 3-way fight in just a hot minute. Don John on there as well. I'm going to give that one a quick shot in the 999. You have your picture-in-picture functionality. You actually don't want to miss that. If there's another instance of the BMW going wide, way too hot into there, chances are that's going to be the grass one more time. Has to slow down quite severely there. Ever keeps the position for now. Who are we watching in the bottom right?
Yeah, like say picture-in-picture, Don Jordan, try and go around the outside of the number 13, that's Casper Nielsen, and yep, the BMW there in your main frame there, doing exactly the same as the lap before. Not quite to the same extent, but again, going wide through turn 6, and there is a gravel trap there, ready and waiting, and it will eat you if you go in there. And maybe the 13 does the same in picture-in-picture, not quite, almost did it actually, still runs wide, because the gravel
the same
there.
story
So the BMWs, yeah, BMWs must be struggling around. The second chicane, but to the outside goes Don Jordan. Probably not going to happen though. Gets a slide on exit. 13 holds on to a P13 actually, naturally.
Yeah.
But holds on to it for now. But yeah, the BMW's really struggling through that second chicane.
It's a bit too much of an embrace with that sand on the outside there. Gravel trap we were talking about certainly does welcome you, but it really it's got some separation anxiety. It doesn't really want to let you go at all. So you're going out wide there, jumping like a GT4. That is around the outside. It's not going to be where the grip is, or Don Jordan gaining the position right there.
Yeah, he ducked into that one then. Yeah, maybe the BMW there just burning up its tyres a little too much in the final stage, and suddenly looks like it's run out of grip there. Has Casper Nielsen, those two switch positions then. And it's a bit of a distance then to Xavier Eugenie is Don Jordan, so P12 and P13, and I don't think they'll he'll be able to catch up then in the 999 cover. I think there's a good battle going on in the world of the GT4s, which I'll go check out.
Yeah, sure. Sounds like a good opportunity in the center frame. You're still going to see Aaron Eriday holding on here, and I do think in the GT4 that's sister cars, isn't it? It's quite close in between the Peter Varga and Serban here, where Serban originally in that 1-3, currently I think third in class, no fourth that is. It was a bit slower actually.
Yeah, not the best qualifying for them for sure, but race pace they've caught back up here, and same with Peter Varga there. Yeah, actually did. It's sort of the other way around. Peter Varga having good race pace here, and yep, they're catching up. Daniel Barnett as well, coming on strong here in the number 16 car. You can see those two teammates go side by side and change for position. I think a little bit of team orders there. The number 12 gives way then to Emil. Emil thinking that he's probably a little bit quicker than Peter Varga at the moment, which we've seen over the season may be the case, but they are still both very good drivers indeed in BMWs. But yeah, changing position there, I think slightly instrumented as well, or orchestrated, and they're going to try and fend off the number 16 car then for the rest of this race.
Right. Yeah, getting those messed up. The BMW is always putting such a impressive performance. Probably sponsored by RST, just like we are, getting the setups in to assert some dominance. Same story here as we are in the picture-in-picture. So look at that train of cars. That's GT3, GT4, multi-class mashup. It's time for the monster mash, you might always say. Jesus, look how close everything on that got.
Yeah, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars there, all in, well, one corner. They're all through that one corner now, and that is, yeah, like you say, is not really what you want, especially as a GT4. You're going to get sort of scared and crowded off track, especially when all the GT3 cars come along and push you out of the way. But it happens, you've got to get through it, and yeah, it is quite entertaining. You see a lot of the grid all in one section.
Yeah, especially when there's a bit of a tussle like we do see right on there. RWB Godzilla will have to fend off against Badowski in number 45. That's the McLaren jumping to the outside here. Let's see if he does something unsensible. In the traffic, splitting it like the jam right on there. He's going to be forced out to the grass and see who gets the better run. Looks like Newcomer actually is the one benefiting from that, sliding right in there and stealing the position from Badowski. So that's Newcomer up in fourth, and Godzilla doing the right thing despite splitting the traffic 3 wide.
Yeah, indeed. Try to go down the inside did Godzilla of that GT4 McLaren, and wasn't really room, but yeah, went for it anyway. A little bit of side-by-side contact. The other McLaren had to give way there through the gravel or through the grass there, which I think was the right thing to do, because if all 3 of them went to go for the right, the second part of the chicane, that definitely wouldn't have gone well at all. And like you say there, Newcomer profiting from that, getting past Badowski, and see if they can all hunt down Godzilla once again. But yeah, Godzilla's done a real good recovery drive from that accident. That definitely was not his fault at the start of the race, and all the way back to P3, will be happy with that.
Jumping right on around the action here, I think we're going to continue having a bit of an eye on there. Nate Newcomer actually with a nice opportunity. Looks like the front engine cars during this, at the end of this first sector there especially, a bit of a disadvantage, you could say. Once again, forced out wide. Just luckily, there's not much of an overtaking opportunity right on as we're going up the hill and into what is, hold on, let me get this right, Piratella, I think, then down the hill. Aqua Minerale will be the next corner to clear here. A very good corner for the AMG, considering its capabilities of running over the curb there. It does so very much, now forced into a defensive line, I'd reckon, considering what an exit that Newcomer had. Checking quickly to the inside, but that's just going to be a dupe this time. So they're going to be continuously chasing in this fight for P3.
Yeah, it's not over until that flag falls, and a bit of a mistake then from Peter Varga through the first chicane has left him right on the tail. And then of Daniel Barnett, he's closed the gap right up, and it's separated by half a car length, if that. That's the battle over P3 and P4, I believe, in class. No, P4 and P5 in class, actually, between the number 12 and number 16 GT4 cars.
Bring that on up for you. That's a... Whoa, was that...
Whoa.
Was that schlagged right there? Somebody maybe connecting or disconnecting with his skin? That was a big one. And Godzilla is all the way over to the side. That's going to be a disaster spell right on there. What was that? Oh,
Yeah, we have
jeez.
to check that one again. He still takes P3, crucially, which is good. No matter what happened then,
James
newcomer
Lacey
Badlowski-
out of the race as well. Wait, did we
well,
just miss the finish of the race? Were we
yeah,
too
no, I think that
occupied?
was just the finish. I
Oh,
believe
he's
so.
just said, oh, Jesus Christ. I had it called Brown there. Just the commentators called Brown. That
I
is.
got a little bit as well.
I was so wrapped up in the action.
Yeah,
Look at
the
that.
time came very quickly indeed, and yeah, there you go. So Schaefer takes the win there ahead of Lacey in GT3. Then yeah, that definitely called us out a little bit, and Radek Schuler will come across the line. I think Schuler's already come across the line, possibly. Indeed, he
Yeah.
has, along with Tino.
We're going to have to
We'll
get a
cross the
recap
line.
on this one.
Yeah, without a doubt. And Daniel Barnett then comes across the line to take P5 in class for the GT4s, and that's the best placed Audi then in GT4 as well.
What a race. They're snuggling now on GT4s next to GT3s. But I was thinking, what was he doing there? What's got him sending it sideways? I was thinking possible explanations, but the real explanation is that's this little piece of cloth that's actually checkered black and white, waving out, signaling him that he's just got the job done. So did Turano Jonan, bringing it back home here, just very close to the teammate, number 19 and 24. Nice little action right on there. So let's go down the order for the first race. Session has now officially ended with the fact that Schaefer finished 5 seconds ahead of everyone. That is P1 for the McLaren number 27. Then Lacey, Godzilla, newcomer. That's the top 4 right on there. Badowski managed to bring home that position number 5 here, where Crawford Brown is in the 39, 6th place. Aaron Eriday, very close finish ahead of Winch right there. Ryan Winch, that is, in the number 1 man. Donaldson, second Audi on the grid in the 33 and 9th, and Darren finishing up your top 10.
Yeah, well, crazy start to the first race here tonight then at Imola, and things did settle down thankfully for the second half. And like you said, Barton and the AC4 handed with a 30-second penalty at the end there for
Right,
not taking the clearing the stop and go and getting it reduced to just a 30 plus, which is
it's
certainly
quite interesting, yeah. I mean, if that actually counts, might be worth considering. It's only 30 seconds. He didn't even finish like way back in the grid. Talking about the grid, though, GT4 grid finishing order is going to be Schuller ahead of Tarantino after a strong qualifying there as well, managing to fend that off. Serbum and Varga make that 3 out of 4. And the top 4 here for BMW. Barnett is the first Audi in class. It's P6, number 16 car right on there. Then it's going to be right a bit down the order. Craig Gilbert Wood, I think that was going to be your P5 before we jump back to the sessions. And so are we going to go to the intermission screen and look to get you an interview on hand.
Indeed, well, he's already here. He's very
Nice.
good.
He's quick.
Is the chief, and yeah, a bit of a chaotic start to the race, especially in GT3. I don't know if you've heard or know of what happened with the GT3 Audis at the start of the race.
Yeah, we're some of us are in a kind of call together, so it's me, Crawford Brown, and Jack Donaldson all together. So
Okay.
yeah, I was hearing in real time the kind of panics, the bit of swearing. Yeah, it's quite annoying. They showed the pace that they could do it, but yeah, they kind of lucked out at the very start.
Yeah, very much so, and they did well to regain those positions from the start, but thankfully, race 2 is dictated again by qualifying and not by your finishing position, so they'll be right up there once again for a second crack at it, and I'm sure they have learned from their slight mistakes at the start from race 1, and they'll be able to learn from that, and they'll have a better race 2 for sure. So what about GT4? Didn't really go your way either, particularly. A good result there for one of them. Was that which GT4 was that in the end? Did quite well.
I'd have to honestly look that up. Sorry.
That was Barnett.
Barton, I think, number 84.
Yes.
Oh no, I did absolutely horrendous in that. Got a drive through. Well, I got a stop go 30 for speeding in the pit lane, and then
Yes, we saw that.
a drive through on the final lap, which didn't take. So
Oh, you got
yeah,
that
it was
right.
horrendous for me. But yeah, Barnett did an excellent job considering he was out there in no man's land effectively by himself, surrounded by BMWs and Maccas. So brilliant job for him getting up there.
Yeah, without doubt. And well, so did you take that stop go penalty in the end?
Yeah, I
Yes,
ended up serving it. I served it as soon as I got it, but the drive through on the final lap I didn't take, so that's where the 30-second penalty came from.
Yeah, of course, and you still had a relatively respectable result anyway. So without those two issues, you would have had a pretty good result. So that's something to look forward to for the next for the second race here.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be at night, so some people slow down, some people speed up. So it'll be interesting to see if that comes into play with everyone. But yeah, all the Audi drivers, they feel pretty confident at Imola, so hopefully the nighttime doesn't affect them too much. They did some night running last night in the shakedown, so yeah, should be good for those guys.
Yeah, it's good to see. Of course, obviously, Hungaroring, both of the rounds were at night, so you know exactly what to expect. But obviously, with the different conditions this time around, you know, your braking points may, or your markers has definitely may change because you may not be able to see them as clearly as before. So, knowing, you know, the reference points for the lap in the dark is certainly key for keeping it on the track here. And yeah, like say, doing practice runs at night is certainly going to help. And hopefully, that gives you guys the edge over everyone else here.
Yeah, here's hoping.
Yeah, wonderful. And yeah, I think we're just come to the end of this FB session then, and yeah, hopefully it's a better round for you guys than for race 2. And yeah, best of luck for you.
Thanks, guys.
That and there, once again, Josh, third time is the charm for them, hopefully, with the interview order they've been in. Would just give them the advice, get your head down and don't push as hard. You have the potential, but you're just going to throw a wrench in your own way if you're sending it so early in the race. I'm pretty sure that they're going to be more sensible in the second time round, but chances are there's still lots of opportunities to go send it somewhere you really don't want to.
Yeah, well done. Of course, like he says, it's very much nighttime here at Imola now, so different conditions for sure, and it's gonna bring out some variables for some of the drivers here tonight, without a doubt. And you know, we saw some chaotic racing last week out whilst it was nighttime, and maybe that'll bring the same effect. Like you said, some drivers do go quicker, some drivers do go a little bit slower, a little bit anxious with the darker conditions, not be able to see the track to its full extent. So may see a bit of a shake up here in both classes, but hopefully they keep it all on track, keep it clean, and yeah, they've got 3 minutes left to prepare themselves. So
yeah,
we'll see how it goes.
Do you want to take the shot and go down the auto once again?
Let's go for it one more time. Again, similar to race number 1, then RWB Godzilla will take you from the lead then into turn number 1, followed by Martin Schaefer then and then Crawford Brown. These two Audis taking the second row, Crawford Brown and Jack Donaldson. Hopefully they have a better start to race number 2. Row 3 goes to James Lacey and Marco Badwowski. Then the 69.45. Row number 4, Aaron Adri, along with Ryan Winch. Then the 996 and the number 1 car. It's the leading Aston Martin, followed by Don Jordan, then the 999 car, along with the 97 of Nate Newcomer. That's your top 10 then in GT3. P11 then goes to Robert De Vries, who had a good qualifying, finished P16 in the end then at the race. Hopefully has a better second one. The 81 then of Simon Trebek goes into P12. 89 of Magnus Dahlgren in P13, along with Casper Nielsen then the number 13 on your left-hand side. Xavier Eugenie then, the two BMWs next to each other, or position by position, just edges out Gianni Lenz and P16, the triple 17 car, and that is that's everything then for GT3. Obviously, a bit of a shortened grid this time around. The leader then for your GT4 class is that 96 Radek Schuler, who we've become so accustomed to over the last few weeks for sure. Emil then backs up the 1-2 then for BMW. It's a 3-4 for Porsche there. Jacob Tarantino followed by Turo then in the 24. Good showing then from Turo. I see him further up the field. Daniel Barnett then in the number 16 had a good showing for Audi, and hopefully continues his form then. P22 overall, and the number 55 then is Bart Major, along with the number 18 of RWB Hacks, and then Peter Varga there in the number 12, who climbed his way up the field quite well in the first race. So see if he can do that again. Craig Gilbert Wood then in the number 8, along with the number 4 of Mad Owl there on your right-hand side. Coming to the back end of the grid, Claudio there in the number 10, along with Joshua Barton, who obviously had that 30-second penalty and the stop-go. Hopefully that doesn't happen for him once again. Hopefully he has a cleaner time. Things the lights are ablaze as it's 20 seconds to go. The number 19 then of Kevin Shepherd is in 29th overall. P30 on the grid. Jacob, the 696 of the cars starting to get rolling then. And the final 10 of Seb, Thomas, Matt Sullivan, Justin, Jack, Alistair Clinch, one of the non-qualifiers, Daniel Burrell, who's their debut, still getting to grips to things, Carl Lewis, and rounding out the grid, Damien Wilk, those good drivers all having qualifying bans, along with Daniel Burrell, who's obviously their debut to ACC in the Constructors Championships here with the RWB guys.
Listening to the engines raw, beautiful stuff there. We're seeing the soundscape unfold a little bit. Much bigger of a gap this time around, I'd say. Sensible thing to do as I'm almost going into the ground there. There we go, Nicholas. That's the way you want to do it. Hide behind the trees just a little bit. Happy little tree, happy little accident, that is. See if there's no more accidents up at the front here. See, once again, a very aggressive and weaving Audi there. See if things go a little bit better this time around with that strategy.
He's on the wrong side of the grid as well, coming all the way over to the other side there, trying to scare out the McLaren maybe a little bit, but it seems to calm down, hopefully.
Yeah.
And maybe that works for him with the tyre temps obviously being a lot darker, a lot cooler as well, trying to get those tires up.
Green light once again, as we're seeing a very nice start there from the Audi. Second one to try, this time it's the other Audi, and see if things go better this time. Very nice run, he backs out of it this time around, but is going to get a very nice position. It's going to be side by side with Schaefer, almost contact there. He's still in a very good spot there, forcing him out wide. The McLaren onto the sand there briefly. There's going to be a nice opportunity there for Donaldson to follow up on that as well. Doesn't quite do that this time around. McLaren's there in the background, getting away quite nicely there too. The Aston Martin of Winch also in a pretty nice spot, and this time around, not as much contact, luckily, as we're seeing that Porsche right up front. Taking a slightly evasive line.
Yeah, we went 3 wide there. I'm thinking there, oh no, not again, please no. But thankfully, things were settled down there as I, for some odd reason, clicked into another channel.
Yeah, so
just mid-click, but GT4's all calming down. And thankfully, it's a very sensible start there in the entirety of GT4. The GT3s there of Alistair Clinch, I believe. Yeah, Clinch and one of the Mercedes as well, making their way up through those GT3s, so didn't have to, but had the qualifying ban. They've made their way up the fields.
Sideways there, Don John getting past Aaron Arriday a little bit unorthodoxically. He's sent him out wide to the grass and takes the position very much. Says thank you and puts himself into ninth spot here, very close up at the front where Martin Schaefer and Brown, I think, just traded places once again. So that's Schaefer back up at the front here, and running away from the pack is the AMG you see in the back of the picture here. Let's try and continue getting this shot in right on there. Winch there, 5th position, Don John in there, 2nd Aston Martin up on the grid, and we're seeing here Casper Nielsen, that's P12 for you. Very much single file that is so far. How's it looking in the GT4s?
GT4 is looking much better. With the GT3s, those 2 GT3s that had to make their way through the grid, they've done it much more sensibly this time, especially Clinch, who made a bit of contact on the opening couple of laps of GT4s whilst he made his way through the grid on that first race. Not the case this time, everyone's settled down quite neatly here, thankfully.
Bit of a shot there, Giannis Lenz sending Clinch out wide, the 420, he falls onto the gravel trap there. With a slight elbow check from the Pastel Maldonado, 777. Top of the grid, and we do see that Crawford Brown has lost a little bit of time here. It's already 3/10 back from Schaefer, so that's kind of the gap that we were almost expecting. So no incidents. Now things are going to be down to the race pace, most importantly, as we're going to be going up into the chicane here for the next time. Second time this race, after Aqua Minerale, this Variante Alta up and around there, jumping the curb, see if you can get a nice exit. Porsche jumping the curb severely, but regardless of that, getting a decent run out of it. Let's bring the picture on up so you can see what's happening in the GT4s too.
Indeed, and in those GT4s, we're here with the number 8 car there, Craig Wood, then, who lost it coming out of turn number 7 out of Tozer, lit up the rears, probably getting a wheel on the AstroTurf or the grass out there, lit up the rears and straight into the wall, managed to bounce off it and carry on, but I think lost 6 or 7 positions in doing so, and it's coming under pressure then from Daniel Birel as well in the Aston Martin, who's claimed a fair few positions actually at the start there in his first lap.
The move of the day to round the outside up into when that's going to be enough for P4. What a move. Super strong stuff. Let's see if Donaldson is going to retaliate from that. He just left him baffled and puzzled right on there. He's going to close the door just in time. Fair and square. Ryan Winch makes it stick for P4. Wow.
Yeah, cracking move there and got it done. And looks, I think he'll be able to pull away. We've seen good pace from the Astons over this championship so far, especially Winch and Clinch. Seems to drive.
The power duo had to be
Power
that.
duo indeed.
I do enjoy all that myself. A little pun, and they do mightily fine, those ones. So yeah, very impressive stuff there. Winch in there number 1, trying to bring back the pride where Clinch right now in 16th place is doing a great job at coming back. He now got past Johnny Lenz, and by the looks of, he's also cleared De Vries, finds himself in 15th positions and quite far off the track, trying to showcase that Misano logo. It's a bit past the original preparation of the stream, Mr. Clinch here. But regardless of that, it's going to be very interesting to see where he's going to end up at the end of this, and with the next round seeing probably some qualifying bans as well. Considering how many incidents there were to be seen tonight, chances are we're going to see more of that in the next episode.
Yeah, without a doubt, and that's also going to hurt some people quite a big time. Also, we've seen the damage that it's caused. Clinch is now up to P15 now, but very far at the back of the. Well, you normally see him in the top 5, and you see how far away he is from that. So it shows how much it can hurt you by getting those qualifying bans, especially as a GT3, because it puts you at the very back, meaning that you do have to get through those GT4s as well. So big penalty, big deficit you have to overcome with those qualifying bans.
Yeah. It's something that the drivers obviously know coming into some of these races. That's the sort of stakes that they're playing with. And this week, with the Audis getting the double points and the double penalty points, it'll be interesting to see what sort of score they're setting in the end. Usually you're looking between 800 and 1,000 plus points at the end of a bonus round, if that goes your way. And chances are it'll be around there. Just don't know how tight the ruling is going to be, considering some of the early incidents and what we've been seeing around. So how's our favorite Dosh doing down in the track? Can we get some info on that as well? I don't want to interrupt from the fight. Maybe you've got some info. Almost 3 wide there, the McLaren to the inside. Who are we looking at there?
Looking at the moment, Jack Mason's trying to get past Daniel Birel, who's up to P34 from second last on the grid, and down inside goes the McLaren. Trying to look at it. Joshua Barton up in P26 overall, so I think that's P8 or so in class, which is a good showing for him. Yeah, the battle's not over here. We're going to run on board then with the number 15 car, looking to the inside of that 76. Cuts off the nose, does the Aston Martin. Aston Martin, together here with Daniel Birel and Thomas Bouvier. They're P33 and P34 overall. So at the tail end of the field, but every point counts. You can see both of them running a bit wide. They're both Aston Martins. Not ideal for them, but we'll jump back up the field then and actually have a look at Mr. Joshua Barton, who is locked in a fight, I think. Actually, no, he's not. He's actually on his own. Timing screen's updating. We see 2 up ahead that are fighting there. I think that was Hackers going down the inside of one of the BMWs. That's the 43 car, which is actually a lap down already and actually dies for pit road with someone off on the right-hand side there. Don't know if you saw who that was.
Bit of trouble there. It looked like
pit
potentially
entry
in Audi in terms of the shape. I only had a very brief glimpse at what happened there. We're going to definitely find out in a second. We're jumping back on over to the main screen right on here. Want to have a quick look here what our Nate Newcomer is doing in this fight for P6 essentially, where obviously up at the front things have started to thin out just a little bit. However, with all due respect, it looks like Crawford Brown seems to be the faster out of him and Schaefer right on here. Has been able to close down the gap quite severely. Is there jumping there, the curve there in the middle of the screen. Nate Newcomer getting a decent run out of this, and this train seems to continue going for now.
Yep, for now they're keeping it pretty sensible, but yeah, we do like a good train and seeing so many cars together on the track. I'm just going to put up a replay for you because I think something might have happened to one of the Audis here.
See, yep. Let me know when you found out what basically happened there. I think they might already be limping considering the speed of the cam. Yeah, that's probably already caused a mistake there. So into the pits very early here during the pit window. Nate Newcomer searches the undercut while we are searching the reason for the incident. Gotta get them transitions, you know how it goes. Martin Schaefer there. I think we found it, so I'll let you take on over before this is gonna be lost in the void. There you go.
Yeah, for sure it's something going to get lost at some point. And here we go. This is with the 310 Aston Martin GT4. And just, doesn't really care for the chicane. Apparently. Maybe a brake failure occurred to this car, but we'll then go on board with this car. And you can see the damage that's been caused to it. The front windshield is completely cracked. And when they do get going, you can see that going forwards, the right hand is very far down to keep it in a straight line. So I don't know whether or not that was a brake failure for them, whether or not that was in-game or
did look like it.
With their actual, either that or just a complete lapse of concentration. Maybe I'd like to go with the first option, given the benefit of the doubt, but they did try to brake and.
Once again with the Aston Martins jumping the chicane there, as we're seeing John and the 999 absolutely ascended, flying sideways. Got to get a picture of that. It's something you would put on an NBA poster. He's almost dunking on Marko Badowski there in the 45. Jesus Christ.
I love the analogy, and as we get out this replay, then you can see that the 310 car has had a pretty torrid time. They are in the pits, but with the amount of damage that they've got, I don't know if they'll ever even return from said pit lane.
So sorry to interrupt you with all that. That was just amazing to see. What a move that! Definitely what another replay. We're just sending you looking for replay after another. I'm gonna quickly turn off the picture to give you an opportunity to just witness that firsthand. The sort of beauty that we had in terms of the move here. Casper Nielsen already going through traffic with Eugenie trying to follow along. Is there? I think that was a green Aston Martin on the side of the track there. Am I mistaken? Or is that Jack Mason? No, that's Alistair Clinch dropping back. Okay. I'm pretty overwhelmed at this point with all the different cars and the fact that the visibility is actually quite significantly reduced here tonight at Imola. Jesus.
Imola.
Yeah, there we go.
It's been a hot while since we've been to Misano.
Yeah.
Which corner was that on? The 45?
It's the chicane. Basically, getting a very good run onto the chicane. And then just sending it. Just letting it rip, really, as they would say. And I think that was... What was that where they say let it rip? Was that Beyblades, wasn't it?
It sounds like a Beyblade to me, yeah. Get the rip cord out and let it loose. And I think we do have that replay for you then.
All right, let me know when you're ready. And we're jumping right on over there.
Yeah.
Get that on there. Yeah, go ahead.
Up at the hill then coming to the chicane there. We'll have a look at the Aston, which is in the middle pack here. There you see the two cars go side by side, and down the inside goes said Aston, launching over the curbs. Yep, certainly goes on the attack there. Tries to basically sort of drop kick the McLaren out the way. But it sort of rebounds and goes straight into the wall, and they do carry on, thankfully. But yep, the Aston Martin going a little too late on its brakes, using the curb as a sort of like a launch pad to attack that McLaren.
In the first place, it looked like at some point you just realized he's just going to have to evade as much damage as possible. But in real reality, it wasn't very easy for him to do that, considering the chicane is as tight as it is. So I think he did a good job. It was just so spectacular. You have to do a little bit of what do you call it? Geez, my brain is stopping to work. Sorry about that. Banter. That is the word that I'm looking for.
Sure. Exactly, and especially he went to the inside, tried to avoid that, but it doesn't help that there is one of those sausage curbs on the inside of both the right and the left section of the chicane, which basically just launched him into the McLaren there, which didn't really help him whatsoever.
Once again, getting a little bit flustered here with the GT3, GT4 traffic, where some of the GT3s pitting early are finding themselves kind of caught in the middle here. Following James Lacey there with a late camera shift. Wow, okay, so we don't want to miss it this time, we're already almost 25 minutes into the race, and it felt like a breeze. It felt like we're just on the second lap, on the starting lap, really. And we've already been covering so much of the footage. Crawford Brown heading to the pit lane now, and do want to say at this point, since I am enjoying myself quite significantly, yeah, I could say, if you do enjoy yourself here around there with us in the broadcast, then make sure you give that stream a thumbs up and leave us a nice comment. Get some more people involved in this series. I think you're gonna love to join the action here. We barely missed how Alistair Clinch continues to fight up for positions here, getting past Xavier Eugenie in that number 42 BMW. Was probably a beautiful move, considering how Alistair Clinch does things around here. But we didn't quite catch it, and that's alright.
Yeah, certainly when he goes for a move, you're gonna know about it, and just seen another replay of the 43 car, which is really not having a fun time of things.
Right, let me get that set up for you in just 1 second. Here you go.
Yeah, thankfully it's just it's pretty casual, this one, thankfully, but again, it's just another little incident that doesn't really need to happen. Goes through Tozer, gets a wheel on the curb, and little half spin, little tap on the wall, carries on. But the 43, unfortunately for Justin Burley, is really not having a good time of things. It is currently last of the runners out there in P39, but is ahead of Sullivan Schlatter, which was that Audi that we saw obviously passed over on pit entry. They've retired fully from this race.
Yeah, it's a shame to see, but probably the sensible thing to do at some point, considering the race has been going the way it is. Unfortunately, a drive-through here, first one of the evening, that's going to go to Nigel Nintaro, that is number 24 car in the Porsche, chasing RWB Hacks here in the background. Has been trying to push a little too much, most importantly across the track limit. Stewards did notice and are going to follow through on that. So he sends it very much to the outside. That might be some contact as well. Let's have a look if it ends up being. Looks just like a small little detour to acknowledge that he's currently on the stream. Very nice of him to do so.
Yeah, indeed. Not really getting the... well, I'm surprised he went off in the way he did, just going way too fast into toes and never managed to get the grip around the corner and just launched himself off to stage right. But back on track, didn't lose any positions, thankfully. Did the 24 car, but again, not exactly what he wants to be doing whilst trying to pressure 4 positions up ahead of him.
Yeah, now let's talk a little bit about the pace here tonight. We haven't really discussed that much. Currently, fastest lap of the race is up at the front here, very closely contested between these two. Martin Schaefer, about 2 seconds behind. RWB Godzilla is actually has already set the fastest lap with a 42.68, where Godzilla has a 42.69. So very close up at the front. Currently the pace, however, for Schaefer is about half a second down. Chances are that's with traffic. But regardless of that, that 2.5 second gap is going to be difficult to close with the remaining 17 minutes that we're seeing here tonight. However, in terms of battles, we do have some close fights, especially for P4, where right now James Lacey is leading ahead of Marco Badowski, center screen for you, and then Aaron Ariday in that 996 BMW. That's a sort of three-way pack that's already gotten cleared off the AMG in the background there. Dash to the pit lane, stopping the car just in time. Got to get that right clinch with a drive-through. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, especially with so early into the race as well. Obviously, we've seen.
Get him go! That's a stop and go 30. He just did not. He did not acknowledge that corner at all.
Crumbling down for him indeed.
Oh.
Yeah.
wanna get a replay of the onboard from that. Let's see if they can get that.
In his
Oh, it's already past it. Ah, come on! He's already gone too fast. Oh, it's how unfortunate. I would have loved to see that.
In his frustration, just bypassing said. Is he going to
be a retirement? Yeah, looks like a retirement to me.
The rage is real for some drivers tonight, and unfortunate for Clinch.
Yeah, Clinch got the drive-through, and he just said, "Man, I'm gonna be done with this race right and then and there." And he did something you really want to cross off your bucket list. Just send it past. You can't do that as well at Zolder. Might as well do it here. Just cutting across the track completely, and that's gonna cost him.
Yeah, big time. It's going to cost the Aston Martin team as well. Big time as well, which is really not what they want for their championship. 2 bad races in a row then for Clinch, and that's going to really suffer or make the Aston Martin team suffer as well.
It really does boil down to the mix of things. He didn't get the qualifying in. Very nice move there from Crawford Brown. He already has himself this pit stop, getting let past there by the 66 of De Vries. Potentially exchanging positions there. He's going up the hill past the number 10. That's going to be the AMG that is getting past there. Blue flags continuously being waved. Audi probably going to send that up in the chicane there as well. Very nice. De Vries managing to make it stick. Well, coming back to Aston Martin a little bit. They had great performances, but as much as they can impress us, like last time around, they can just demolish their reputation in just sometimes they had super high highs and they've just had super low lows, like tonight as well.
Yeah, it's there's no real middle ground for the Aston Martin team. They had a struggle to the start of the championship, and we saw that with some of the drivers having to be let go and some people not showing up, and it certainly made a troublesome time for the Aston Martins to start off with. But the last round out, they were pretty on fire, along with Kyle Army as well. Very good races as well, both for both Clinch and Weish as well. But they just self-destruct. They'll have one really good race. It'll be really good for the Aston Martin team, both GT3 and GT4, and then the second one will be all over the place, and it'll be a bit of a shambles, which is unfortunate for them.
Talking about shambles there, you wouldn't expect that to see both of the leading cars up into the grass there for a brief second. Yeah, it's a little bit like a Phoenix story, you could say, that either they're going from the ashes or into them. It's really no middle ground. You got that absolutely spot on. So in the bottom right, also having a nice fight there in the picture for you in just a hot second. Where are we watching that?
Indeed, we've just seen Mad Al get past Jack Mason for P12 in class. He was right on the back there, Thomas Bouvier there in the 51, but that McLaren GT3 coming through has created a bit of a gap between the two. But Mad Al, who's definitely got the pace, and I believe has actually completed their one mandatory pit stop.
What was that on the outside there? That's going to be an Audi, Sullivan Schlachter. Dead last in the GT4 here, in the Audi RWB TCC car. Very unfortunate. Early race, almost making contact there with Casper Nielsen, just narrowly avoiding that. Ooh, I actually got close.
I thought that car had retired, but still, good for them to be out on track and gathering more data and getting more time in the car, which is always necessary and good to see for the forthcoming rounds. But just hope that they don't cause any more issues in the 51 here in your picture launching over the car.
He's absolutely gone flying. He's taken the Ryanair. And he's gone. He's gone. He's looking for a vacation spot back with the houses there. They've already opened the tab for him. They're pouring him a cold one back there. His suspension is already taking. He's taking the day off. It seems like.
Indeed, I feel like some of these drivers want to be, skateboarders or snowboarders. They're trying to ride the rails here or something. Either that or become a plane and take flight, because they're doing that more than they are keeping it on the track today. And I want to bring up a replay of that one.
That was beautiful. Love to see that. I'm having the time of my life here. That is lovely. So back to the main action. We've seen Martin Schäfer here. Due to the pit stop of RWB Godzilla, he's going to be out front for, at least one more lap, considering he's 4 minutes in the pit window there, as Tribic joins him in the pit lane there. It's got a very nice stop, it looks like. RWB Godzilla already up and running. Let's see where he comes out to compared to some of the other cars. For example, number 6 here, Crawford Brown, already still a little bit of a way to go. Let's see where Godzilla ends up. He's already rolling. He's got to be well ahead and clear. So still continuing to lead the race here. Number 9 car just quickly following that up here. And going on board before we get the replay in, because I do want to see if he's got the run here. Nate Newcomer, and the 97 is chasing Badowski. That's the number 45 McLaren just ahead. Nose to the rear wing right there. It's falling off due to the poor straight line performance of the Porsche. Regardless, very nice braking there as we see the beautiful onboard riding around into the first sector. We're going to be jumping, and he's going to be jumping a little bit too much. Jumping jacks for Nate Newcomer as he loses traction and drops back into P8.
Yeah, and you can see we said that earlier that the GT4s do ride to the curves, especially those sort of sausage curves placed at the opposite angle to the direction you're going in. GT4s take it much easier than the GT3s. You can see that, and you saw how violent it was as well.
Yeah.
Just the right rear getting caught up on it, and it snatched him around and immediately up into the gravel. And, yeah,
Nothing he could do there really with the Porsche. It just took him by surprise, and despite the nice effort to counter steer there, he couldn't quite keep it around the track, and that's going to cost him 2 positions there, where Aaron Arriday and Don Jordan are going to be moving up a place, and Badowski is out of trouble for now.
For now,
Right.
yeah, you see the 97 go around one of the GT4s in a very
Compromising position,
solid.
actually.
Yeah,
Let's
very
talk
solid
about
fashion as well.
Yeah, coming into the final sector here, we're going to have a treat for you right there as we are switching the picture-in-picture back and forth and letting you get a hold of this.
Hey, thank you very much, there, as we'll bring that out of the way. There we go. And here we go. We saw this just a moment ago. The 51 going defensive, choosing a very odd line, gets one wheel up in there, and that's pretty much all she wrote. And then choosing to take a very tight line and thankfully keeping out the wall. The gravel saving him in there, but trying to defend that from the Porsche behind him there. It caused him to take such a tight line through that right hand there. And he also got a wheel on the curb there and actually contacted with his teammate. Actually, that's Burrell he's made contact with there just a little bit. Yep, you saw that, you know, trying to take the defensive line. And
did you see how close he got with the runoff and the wall? I'm pretty sure someone got a GT4 to do exactly, and I mean exactly that, and see how far out wide he went, and that's where they put the barrier, just so he can avoid that. That's how FIA regulations work. They just let you send it, and then they're checking how wide you're gonna go.
Yeah, the FIA is never scared to use a smaller series, F3, F2, to, you know, dummy other things for other series. But
Or
yeah,
different undisclosed series out there. I wonder which ones they could be. So let's jump right up front. I am interested to see where Martin Schaefer, coming in at the latest possible time, ahead of Lacer here, is going to wrap on up. Let's bring up the track map here, and the car, number 27, you see it red there in the pits. And who are we watching? The number 34, right on there. That's basically the rival right now for position 1. Very quick stop that is, and already rolling. You can see how close this is going to be again. RWB Godzilla, the 34, right on there. In the background, will be chasing. Let's see where he ends up. Going to the helicam. Is it going to be enough? See, he's rolling, and where is 27? Sorry, well passed. Yeah. Great pit stop.
Indeed, and the fastest lap there for Godzilla as well.
Wow.
Solidifying that.
Yeah, what an undercut, really. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
It's
very
not
much
that
so.
dumb.
Yeah, that's very impressive. Maybe just with the traffic might have been the key factor there for him coming out in a bit of breath of fresh air compared to Schaefer instead, who stayed out. Yep, got that undercut working, and yep, got a 7-second gap there to Schaefer, and that's a huge margin with 7 minutes to go. I very much doubt that gap will be closed unless there's a mistake there from the leading Mercedes.
So bring the picture-in-picture. We already saw some action. Maybe he's already gotten past. That was a GT4 Porsche making the move here on the AMG center frame and then Aston Martin to follow. Chances are that is going to be the battle with Tarantino. No, that is actually not the case. Who are we watching right there?
Another one.
Oh, another one bites the dust, literally.
Corner. Yep, second one again. That was Seb. Either Seb or Kevin, not too sure. The timing screen's a little skewed at the moment there. But Daniel Burrell was battling with Turo in the 24 portions. They were squabbling, and then, yep, one of the other, I think it was the Mercedes then, it must have been Seb Trevor Wanowicz, who made the error, very similar to the Aston Martin, going way too deep in the penultimate corner and saying hello to the barriers out there, which
just a friendly greeting, really.
Friendly greeting. Yeah, so two mistakes down in that corner, which is.
And it seems to hit the GT4s much harder as well. Considering they have slightly worse braking performance, it's quite important to spot the braking point. And we do see another drive-through with just 6 minutes to go. Very unfortunate. That's going to be the 4th warning served for Turo tonight, Jonan. And that's going to be the race done and dusted here. He'll be dropping back quite significantly. No real chance of scoring many points after sending that 24 into the pit lane, I reckon, in just a couple of seconds. A bit further up in the... Yeah, go ahead.
It's pretty short. Pit lane around here is one of the shortest on the calendar, thankfully for him, but it'll definitely drop him 4 or 5 places indeed, which is exactly not what he wants here. But like I say, the 39 here, under pressure then from the number 1 Aston Martin.
Yeah, let's get a picture here, see how close this actually is, and maybe even get a little bit of that onboard action here. I haven't really seen much of the onboard here tonight. Let's have a look.
Yeah, it's certainly looking good there, isn't it? You see how the headlights create such a blaze of light directly in front that you can't see anything to the left or right of you, basically. Only lights up exactly where you want to be going, which I guess is really all you need, but I mean, maybe you'd like to be able to see what's around you as well, and hobbling over the curves, both the Audi and the Aston there. We'll see whether or not the number 1 car can close up then for 3rd place in the GT3.
Right. I would say that it's quite surprising that we saw that sort of no flashing rule. I think that was disabled for tonight for some reason. That's something I read in the chat. Correct me if I'm wrong. Chances are, when you're in these light conditions, the only way you're gonna flash is just actually by turning the lights off, not adding more light to the picture. So, in honesty, is that really flashing if you're just turning the lights off instead of on?
It's the odd way of looking at your flashing. Don Jordan sent the fastest lap there, but like you said, I don't think I've seen any flashing at all this round. So yeah, like you said, maybe it has been relegated out for whatever reason. You always, if you've ever done an endurance race, you'll know that you're going down a main straight and there's the guy behind you just constantly on the bus and just flashing away, which is highly irritating. And maybe that's one of the reasons why they've outlawed it here.
Yeah, I'm sure the stewards will let us know what's happening there in the comments on the chat below if you're watching out there and having a great time. We sure are. 3 minutes 50 in the race. Gotta pay attention to that this time around. Don't want to miss the end of the race and Godzilla sending into the barriers and leaving us in shock, despite the fact that AMG is already outruled, because that's how it goes. The value of these cars, it's like one-time use only. So you just got to be sending that to the barriers. Really like a throwaway phone, isn't it?
Anyway, so you get that one chance to use it, you might as well take it where you can.
You had the run up for that as well. So Don John about 2 seconds behind this fight for P5 here, where Marco Badowski is making lazy in the 69, sweat a little bit to bring home the 5th position here. I'd say we've had some great action in both of these races. However, the first one was just so hectic. I hardly had room to breathe at all. So 2.5 minutes still to the end of this one. Maybe, did we have a chance to look at the replay from the start again? Might be a good shot to do that now for this race. Yeah, I wanna take a brief look here, kind of compare how things have panned out. Because what I can tell you for sure, there's a couple of cars that have been gaining quite significantly over the course of this. Definitely Crawford Brown managing to hold on to 3rd is quite impressive. Some of the other cars, for example, Donaldson is now back in 16th place. So a bit unfortunate that for the Audi lads, but definitely a strong bit of position changes here and there as we're seeing Prof Brownie and man navigating the traffic with winch on his shoulder, looking right on there. I think we have the replay ready, so we'll be keeping this picture-in-picture as we are having a brief look down what happened in the first lap of the race. Can you get a different cam, perhaps, like a side cam or a heli cam?
Yeah, I can go heli cam.
I just don't get the chase cam. the broadcast, the directors, they're going to slap your hand if you do that.
Maybe so, sometimes. Yeah, the heli cam can get a little bit confused trying to center everyone, but you can see the Audi then, the 39 goes down to the inside of Schaefer. A little bit of contact there through the mid part of the corner, but much cleaner. Thankfully, no free wide actions there, but yep, doesn't send the McLaren off. McLaren sends itself off there a little bit. You can see in the bottom left there,
forcing to the grass.
Yeah, so much clean start, but still, 2x2 neggers the Aston Martin down the inside of one of the Porsches there. Jeff Lacey, I think, getting overtaken by Winch there. Tries to go around the outside again through Tozer. But yeah, good start there from that 39 Audi there. Got it done immediately. It's good to see, and yep, nice and clean as well. Much better from the first race.
Yeah, I did enjoy the start there as well. It's just so much tidier and everything. So Godzilla right now on the final of the race, and Don Jordan with a big run here on that Porsche of Lacey, number 69. It's the car ahead. Round the outside might be an opportunity. Let's look if he goes for it. Sends it around, but is going to have to wait a little bit longer if he wants to get something done. Car on the inside of the road there. Who's that going to be? I think that's going to be... Wait, already passed? Did we miss that? I think we just barely missed that. Might have been Mouvier, Jakob Cruz, or Damien Wilk. A little bit down the order. To the outside, the 76 is going to be sent there. A bit of a shove, because Don Jordan is on a mission to bring home P6. He only has a couple more corners to do it. Got to check on the track, though. I think RWB Godzilla is nowhere contestable at all. 10 seconds of a gap. With the last lap, 145.1, that's almost a second, it's more than a second quicker than Schaefer. So he's got all of this figured out quite nicely. Don't want to miss if there's action in the background though. Time is up, which means he'll be taking the checkered flag here at the Grand Prix at Imola. So it's going to be the number 34 retaliating, and the second time around managing to stay clear and taking home the dub here for the RWB Monster Energy team. Very nice stuff. That's the checkered flag for him. He's going to be very happy with that. For flashing the camera, is that legal?
Is that legal? I thought that was, but yeah, redemption day there for Godzilla. Be very happy from, he knew he had the pace from race one. Obviously, that was taken away from him, but validation there for him to take P1. Such a dominant fashion, came out the pits 7 seconds, brought out to 10.
Yeah, strong stuff. Schaefer took second. Badowski coming home in third, ahead of Jordan in the 999. We've been following Winch, who defends fifth place from Lacey there. Oh, wait, did they change around? I think the Porsche might have made a mistake there and lost the position last minute. I think James Lacey was P5 before that. Had to concede the place there. So P7 is going to go to Brown here then. Aaron Erity in 8th. 9th goes to Newcomer. 10th for Tribeck. Dargren finishes 11th in the 89. Eugenie, then Newis, Nielsen, De Vries, and there's people already leaving the server. Why are you doing this? I just want to get the commentary right.
The race isn't even over.
Yeah.
There you go. You see in the right-hand side of your picture, Schuler again taking another win here as he parks it up along 2 other cars as well. How nice is that? But yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Another dominant displayed by the BMWs there.
Definitely. Tarantino also with a good show here as well, managing to keep the gap at 9.5 seconds at the end of the race here. Barton Mattia showing us how it's done in the AMG, finishing 3rd in class here. Final step on the podium. We get a nice shot of the fireworks in the backgrounds. RWB Hacks seems to have finished 4th in case people haven't left yet. Not quite the race this time for Cerebrum. Varga, once again, however, Peter Varga, that is, in the number 12, wrapping things up here with a much better performance than what we saw in qualifying. And first Audi in the GT4 class is once again going to be Joshua Barton here. No, actually, not once again, but this time around it's going to be Joshua Barton. He's going to be very happy once he drops in the interview about, let's count him down, 5 seconds. He's going to be super quick, I reckon.
Super quick indeed. It'll be interesting to see what pace they can bring forward once again to the final 2 rounds. So we are now past that halfway point. Now in the season, we've got 2 more rounds to go, and we'll see what sort of momentum people can take.
But it was a lovely cast, that's for sure. I'm sure that you've had a fantastic all time. It's quite nice to see how these guys have been fighting in the second race, much more fair this time, and I'm sure that the Audi lads are going to be happier with the finishes here on the second race as well.
Yeah, without a doubt, I've messaged the chief, and hopefully he is around for one final word. But yeah, good result there for Brown. Came P7 in the end. In GT3, De Vries and Donaldson not having the best of time, P15 and P16, unfortunately for GT3. Honours there, but GT4, much better show of things, I believe. Barnett in 35th overall, Barton up in 23rd, so much better result for him without those penalties. That certainly helped him for sure.
All right. I think we're otherwise going to call this a wrap. Let him celebrate a little bit, because it is getting late, and it has been an absolute pleasure. Once again, big shout out here to the RWB community for bringing this on, sponsoring us as always. Are going to be the 3 big ones. Should I bring that up perhaps? Let's maybe play with the intro in the end. So obviously we have here finishing in P1 RWB Godzilla, super strong stuff here. Pitwall Live, SimStock, and Racing Sim Tools RST. I do use it myself, actually. Little known fact. With a big plug. So I hope you had a lovely old time around here. This has been Mr. Pig 100, aka Nicholas, joining me in the broadcast booth. Dom Besser, you heard it here first. Have a lovely evening, and see you around next week on Tuesday.